Yeah, you remember some of those things.
Oh, this is the same.
All right, we're
Argument.
live.
There's two of them there.
9 o'clock. Did we have a printed agenda?
Yes,
May I read what that says?
yes, I'm go. Do you have
No,
the
we're
agenda?
following.
Nicole? Another copy of the end of the table?
Gotta read that blurb again
Oh,
too.
no. Is it?
I think there was one stapled to our agenda yesterday. The page behind was today's
I
agenda.
took it over to the meeting, so I have no idea. Here, maybe this is it.
Oh, I didn't bring mine in either, Joe.
Thank you. You ready over there, Nicole?
Ready?
All right. And we merely recessed, didn't we? So we're gonna, okay, it's 9 o'clock. I'll call the meeting of the Lincoln County Board of Equalization to order. We will be calling this meeting to order from a recess yesterday afternoon as a Board of Equalization.
I'm not sure we recessed, we might
I think
have.
we,
I think
Oh, we did not recess.
We did adjourn.
Oh, okay. So then we will call the meeting to order. First of all, I need to say that we do follow the Open Meetings Act, a copy of which is posted at the entry of the room. The Prisoner Commissioners Joe Hughley, Kent Williams, Michaela Wooler, Chris Bruns, Jerry Woodruff, County Assessor Julie Stinger, and Deputy County Clerk Nicole Fisher. The following appraisal staff is available to assist: Charity Farley, Henry Vogt, and Ashley Cucciolo. I always goof it up. Ashley, and
Kurt Schillo.
oh well. I'm still smiling for the camera. It's a good start. Notice was given on May 21, 2024. A certificate from the Lincoln County Assessor was received and filed with the Lincoln County Clerk. Said certificate indicates the Lincoln County Assessor has completed the revision of the 2024 assessment rolls for real property for Lincoln County. Copies of county profiles for residential, commercial, and agricultural properties are on file as well as the assessor's worksheets. After each commissioner has had a chance to individually review the protest, the assessor's recommendation, the referee's recommendation, and make any notes or comments to themselves, the board shall collectively vote on each individual protest. Having said that, I did mention that we do follow the Open Meetings Act, a copy of which is posted at the entry of the room. And Kent, are you ready to start with the first one?
I am.
Thank you.
Protest 294.
Thank you, Chris.
Brady Swedberg, parcel is 0080770.00. Also described as Rosenblatt Administrative Subdivision, part of the northeast quarter of Section 17, Township 14, Range 32, a 4.5 acre lot. The protested values are land at 46,200, buildings at 100.
No,
no,
There's no writing on it.
it wasn't marked off my list.
The buildings are valued at 171,785 for a total of 217,985. He's requesting a land value to go down to 30,000, the buildings down to 120,000 for a total of $150,000. He writes out buildings are in disrepair, rotten, and rusted holes in roof, foundation, settlement, dwelling inside, disrepair, living room, ceiling, 100% damage, plaster falling off. He also included photographs of some of this condition. This went to the referee. Ashley's represented the assessor on this. Mr. Swedenberg also listed for the referee's consideration an itemized list of costs, estimated costs for the repairs that he shows in photographs. Marcia, the referee, and Ashley of the assessor's office came to an agreement to lower the overall value based on the condition of the home. Ashley writes, changed house to normal condition. House is already receiving a 20% functional for foundation issues. I also changed the pull shed to flat value of $250. Referee writes in her comments, lower, I agree with the assessor's recommendation to lower the value. So the numbers they agree on are land remains at $46,200. The improvements are slightly reduced to $161,641, making a total value of $207,841. My motion is number 9.
Second.
Wooler,
Aye.
Hughley,
Aye.
Brent,
Aye.
Woodruff,
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
I have protest 161, a Trent P. Anderson for property 0087585-00, Lake Maloney, lot number 122, also known as 531 Goose Island Drive. Protested valuation is $347,817. He's asking for a reduction to $250,000. He did include a quite lengthy letter, just basically disputing the county assessor's valuation of his property. Pointed out that he had sent many pictures indicating a decline in the condition of the property. Very, very good descriptions along with the photos of mostly peeling paint, some railing that needs replaced, carport needs some work, wood deck is falling into a state of disrepair, maybe some trim damage on the home. This was reviewed by Ashley, and Ashley's recommendation is no change, insufficient evidence to warrant a change. Exterior inspection was denied by the taxpayer on 6/25/2024. So Ashley, you tried to set up a on-site?
Yes, I called him. I don't think I talked to Trent. I think I talked to his dad.
Okay.
And in his letter, he says that we're more than happy to go out there and look, but I called just to cover my bases and was told I could not go out there without a licensed appraiser with me, and told me that I'd be really easy to beat in court because I don't have schooling to be an appraiser. So, and then I believe he did call Terry and told Terry that it was okay for us to go out, but by that time, it was too late, so.
Thank you for the explanation. This did also go to the referee. And her recommendation is the information presented by the owner was not sufficient to legitimize a decrease in value. No change. Value should remain at $374,817. My motion, and you can see from the pictures up on there, I do agree. Most of the conditions that the pictures represent are pretty much cosmetic. I didn't feel like there was any,
Recent interior pictures.
no interior pictures. It's all
Because I went back and looked
exterior.
at prior, when I looked in prior years when he was protesting, I don't think we've ever had interior pictures.
Okay.
And the biggest percentage of the valuation is out of the lake is the leasehold.
The leasehold interest. Thank you for mentioning that.
Numerous sales to show that our leaseholds have had to go up over the last several years many times. So the actual value on the improvements themselves are minimal, 61,617 for all three structures that are out there, so.
Okay, so mostly the leasehold increase by the landowner is where most of the value's coming
Costing
from?
The buildings, the improvements went up with the new costing
Okay.
and stuff, but yeah.
Thank you for the explanation. My motion is number 5, after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time. Evidence presented does not warrant a change.
Second.
Hughley,
Aye.
Bruns,
Aye.
Woodruff,
Aye.
Weems,
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Chris, would you take the next one,
Yep.
please?
I have protest number 355. This is from a Gail A. and Becky S. Madsen. The property ID is 73301.03. The real property description is part of the accretion to government lot 4, section 26, township 13, range 29. This is 26.89 acres. The protested valuation for 2024 has land at $80,670. There's 0 improvements to it, so that is the total valuation. The requested valuation drops that down to $30,000 even. The reason for the requested valuation change from the protester is the previous valuation was $27,720. A current value of $80,670 is an increase of 191%. Nothing has changed on the land, so this does not seem correct or fair. They did, in fact, Julie weighed in on this, and she did provide them a letter, as well as they did see the referee, both of which are recommending no change. And I'm going to read in the letter that the county assessor, Julie Stanger, provided. Again, her recommendation is no change, and this is the reason. The protest submitted is on unimproved recreational parcel located in Market Area 1, south and west of the village of Maxwell, along the river, and contains 26.89 acres of accretions only. Nebraska State Statute 77-201 requires recreational property to be valued at 100% of its market value. The current 2024 value of recreational accretion land is at $3,000 an acre based on sales and is 100% of actual market value. Nebraska is a market value state, so unfortunately, I have no choice but to value the land based on sales only. To even be considered as ag use, a special valuation application needs to be filed with proof provided that the primary use of the parcel is agricultural and the owners rely on agriculture as their livelihood. The reason this parcel increased so much in value from 2023 to 2024 is because prior to the recent purchase of this 26.89 acres, it was part of a larger parcel and was classified as an agricultural parcel because of the 42 acres of irrigated and dry crop land. This 26.89 acres of accretion were purchased in June 2023, after values were certified on March 19, 2023. Therefore, we had to leave it as ag land value until the following year. The previous owner had applied for special value because the parcel was also included much more irrigated and dry crop land. Mr. Madsen purchased this accretion property for $125,000 or $4,649 per acre, indicating he paid recreational price for this piece, not indicative of the current ag land grass value for the Market Area 1. I feel this parcel's primary use is recreational. Owning just a few head of horses, cattle, sheep, goats, or pigs is considered a hobby. Without a primary use as ag land or special valuation application filed to continue agriculture as a livelihood, I am unable to even consider changing the parcel from recreational to ag for 2024. Therefore, I am recommending no change to this parcel at this time. The assessor met with them, and she received testimony from them. The subject is river bottom ground. The subject is used for recreation, horses, firewood, etc. Therefore, she is in line with the assessor's recommendation. Therefore, it would be my motion number 5, after reading that, that After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, it indicates no change at this time. The evidence presented does not warrant a change. Motion, reason number 5, leaving the total valuation at $80,670.
Second.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Runs.
Aye.
Okay, it's 9:15. I have a request from Amanda Jean Hibner that they be allowed to appear before the board at this time. If representatives from the Hibner family are here, would like to come forward.
Morning, David.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, David.
Let me read this in, David, and then I'll allow an introduction. Okay. This is property protest 265 by Amanda Jean Hibner. It's on parcel number 0062595.0. It is part of the east half of the northeast quarter and lots 1, 2, and 3 of 351430. It's 132.15 acres. They're asking that the land, and this is land only, be reduced from $199,360 to $158,081. There was a referee, and I will read in the comments before I ask the Hibners to speak here in just a minute. I'll allow you to introduce yourself. Okay, it says, please see letter attached. The recommendation from the assessor and the referee is no change. I will read in the letter attached from the Hibners, and bear with me, I'm not the best reader, so it's going to take a little while. Hibner parcel 0062595.0 protest in 2024, reason for requested valuation change. In 2021, Lincoln County set out to declare as much land as they could blighted as a means to provide larger industries with tax breaks, particularly regarding the new mall in North Platte and the packing plant that was brought to the forefront of the community. Deeming the property and land as blighted meant the entities were able to purchase the land at a decreased rate as well as receive tax breaks others were not fortunate enough to receive. According to the definition utilized by the City Council meeting during the spring and fall of 2021. Blight encompasses vacant lots, abandoned buildings, and houses in derelict or dangerous shape, as well as environmental contamination. Blight can also refer to smaller properties nuisance that creep up onto the cities and suburbs, overgrown lawns, uncollected litter, inadequate street lighting, and other signs of neglect. When we consider the property parcel 0062595.0 we purchased in 2021, the grass was too tall for us to see the Union Pacific Railroad left behind, see what the Union Pacific left behind when they built the levee across our property. Unfortunately, the organization left behind uncollected litter, as mentioned in the definition above, consisting of bags of sand and cables they used to build up the property. Those very bags and cables are now becoming exposed, and we cannot get them all pulled out because of the depth of them. This has become a hazard to our cattle that graze out there. These aspects also create an environmental contamination because of the danger they impose to not only the cattle out there, but the plants and animals in the area as well, such as deer, birds, and other wildlife. The plants and grass cannot grow successfully because the foundation is composed of plastic bags and cables, which plastic is hazardous, and the cables release toxins and oils into the ground as well. This area totals roughly 10.15 acres, which is an increase from the previous years because the land is continuing to erode. which is revealing more litter and debris. If we apply the valuation of the land according to the county, that should be a decrease of $9,536.50 because of this land we cannot use. Additionally, the Union Pacific also added pipes that allow water to flood our property if the North Platte River overflows. As a result, our animals would be put in even more danger, and it would be impossible to build a structure in the area because of potential flooding. Furthermore, the land is entirely in a floodplain. Therefore, there are several places the property that contain water, which also prohibits us from never using the property for more than agricultural purposes. Because of a multitude of federal, state, and county regulations on floodplains, developing the land with the structures is unfathomable to include houses, barns, and grain silos. Notably, the property is also within the 2-mile zoning jurisdiction, therefore further hindering agricultural and structural development. Notably, we had several occasions arise in 22, 23, and 24 in which trespassers were fishing, canoeing, and kayaking through our property. According to the purchase agreement, insurance policy, deed of the land, and tax parcel ID map, we own the ground under the water, flowing or otherwise. As a result, we call local authorities who are supportive to report trespassing. However, we were told by the Nebraska Game Parks and Judy Clark, Planning and Zoning Administrator, that those individuals could enter our property under the premise of navigable waterways. However, according to the Nebraska case law and our hired attorney, the North Platte River does not constitute as a navigable waterway, nor public property such as a road, nor as a public property such as a road would. Therefore, why are we paying taxes for the property that the public can use? Truthfully, if the county supports the public using this land, it should be purchased from us. We should not have to continue to pay taxes, insurance, nor purchase prices on the land that isn't technically all ours, according to certain representatives of the county and local state representative law enforcement officials. The total acres impacted is roughly 26.59 acres. Using the valuation listed on the county website, we should receive a decrease in valuation of $27,919.50 for the land the county is not protecting us on because they are choosing to make our deeded property public use by inaction or lack of understanding of case law. As previously stated, we use our land for agricultural purposes. Our cattle graze out there, and the little money that we make from them, we put back into our community. Doesn't every community desire for their own members to grow through the honest work and dedication? By increasing our taxes on our land should be deemed as blighted, which Lincoln County seems readily to adopt. The county is stifling our ability to be agricultural producers in the area, thus actually harming the community. Lastly, I encourage you to look at Lincoln County Treasurer list of delinquent property provided February of 2024. There are roughly 357 parcels that owners could not or did not pay taxes to the county for. What are we doing to our own residents if 357 could not make their payments? Obviously, that number does not include individuals who struggle to pay their cumbersome taxes and have to take on extra steps to make sure that we can pay our stressful property taxes. If it did, that number would be even more striking than it already is. On the same note, that is being done to the individuals, what is being done to individuals who are not paying their taxes? Are the rest of us receiving increases in our property valuations to make up for their shortcomings? While it is clear that our county treasurer and the method applied by the county officials are holding us accountable to determine tax valuations through the statement, "Our county treasurer does not make the tax rules." As has been said in previous hearings, are those same individuals following all of the rules for those who are delinquent as well? To the public eye, we cannot find any record of accountability on the delinquent side, so it is unreasonable to pick and choose when we will or will not follow the established guidelines. As may be conceived, we are requesting for the suggested current value of $199,360, an increase of $4,823 from the 2023 to 2024 be decreased by $41,279 to a more reasonable rate of $158,081. Sincerely, David and Amanda Hibner, North Platte. I want to make a couple of comments, and I'll let you introduce yourselves. Oh, no, please introduce yourselves first.
Okay, good morning, everyone. David Hibner and Amanda Hibner. Thank you for...
Now, let me, this is a long one, so I got to establish a couple of rules, okay? I want to first address the second paragraph on page 2 that says the county adopts readily blighted land. It's, to the best of my knowledge, the county has not ever adopted any blighted land. It's the city. Okay, so I want to clarify that for that record. The second thing, let's see. Okay, the number of taxpayers delinquent, I can go back to 1985. That's a pretty consistent list. The third thing has to do with testimony about the county treasurer. So on the items that address the county treasurer, I would ask that whenever you have questions about that, I do have the county treasurer here that she can answer those questions directly, okay? Just want to make that aware. Any other questions before we allow the Hibners to proceed?
Do I understand that they're asking for an extra amount of acres, 10.5 maybe is what I heard, because of that levy?
No, I didn't think so. I thought that was because of public use. They're saying the land under the river they own, but they shouldn't have to be paying taxes.
That was the 10.5 acres?
That's what was my understanding, yes.
I just want to make a point of clarification that the county treasurer has nothing to do in the process with assessments of properties, valuations of properties, or anything of the sort. That is the assessor's office and this board following state statute. So I'm just making that clarification because we're being recorded, like this is live streamed, public is watching. That needs to be a very solid point of clarification for everybody.
Right, I think the only thing they were questioning about the
Right.
treasurer was the delinquent
I'm
tax
just making
part.
sure that there's no confusion
Gotcha.
in that,
All right.
in that.
Thank you, Commissioner, I appreciate that. Okay,
I have a question, maybe for everybody sitting at that table. We reviewed this property last year also, correct? Were there any lowering of the property value or any last year during the protest on this?
Not last year, the year before, a small decrease.
Okay,
yes.
I thought we had at one point.
A functional depreciation, I believe,
I
for some of the
believe.
riprap and
Yeah.
That was because of the levy, correct?
the.
And
yeah.
all this,
Stuff
all
that was left
the
over.
unfortunate trash, for lack of a better term, left behind by the railroad.
Right.
And they have no responsibility in coming there and cleaning that up or retrieving their,
Well, it's similar to, say, a parcel in town where you have a neighbor with a lot of junk, right? So there's noxious weeds, there's trash continually falling off, trains are being left, or whatever the case may be, adjacent to the train tracks. For the levee itself, just the construction was kind of a messy deal.
and
For
you
whatever.
guys own the levee now? You purchase that, or that's still the railroad's?
The railroad owns that strip.
That's
there.
their right of way?
Right,
Okay,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you for clarifying
Yeah,
that.
and so our argument there is that they're kind of the junk neighbor that leaves, rubbish and noxious weeds and tall grass and, just kind of a mess, which devalues the property essentially.
Does that help keep flooding off your property?
Time will tell. It hasn't yet. There's the mentioned relief pipes that would let the water flow through, theoretically. And they're elevated, so it would trap it on our side. And then it might flow out through the creek, and that's kind of another drainage basin that has challenges as well. But
Okay.
fortunately, we haven't found out yet.
All right,
So
thank you.
you haven't experienced flooding through the relief pipes?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No. Someday, I'm sure we will. But
I hope not,
Yeah.
for the community's sake, so.
I guess our biggest thing with that is, as the years have gone by, we're continuing to find more. I mean, my kids and I were out there trying to pull trash yesterday, up to almost halfway through the property now. Just as weather will expose more as time goes on. It's worse than we thought. It just gets worse every year. We were trying to pull huge, they look like old fire hoses really, out of the ground, and that was about halfway through the property just 2 days ago. But it was so far stuck we couldn't remove it. And we were trying to remove it because our cows that we were trying to cube in were getting tangled in it. So it's just worse because, like David said, the
So,
neighbor.
yeah, that's just one articulable challenge that we have for this specific property. To back up a little bit, we're no different than anyone else. We're just a little frustrated with the yearly increases, and feel responsible to be here to try to find a way to balance those out. And so that is one small way among with the other items mentioned by Joe, and thank you for reading that in, that we would try to find some tax relief on this parcel.
We did raise a lot of questions that Julie was kind enough to respond to. We actually got copies of the letters for the first time since I guess we've been going through this process. So that did answer quite a bit for us, and we are grateful for that.
Yeah, the letter was nice. I know there's a bracket. There's some things we can control and some things we can't control, whichever side of the table we sit on. But with the market value statutory range, 69 to 75%, we're at about 71%. And on our parcel or any of our friends and neighbors, if there's a way to keep that at the bottom, if that's something that can be controlled by the board or the assessor's office, to kind of give people a small win, that would be really appreciated.
Right. So I need to thank you for doing that, because I didn't read into the record that as part of the information provided, that there was the letter from Julie that went out regarding Market Area 1. It's the standard letter that we're familiar with, talking about the 3-year rolling average. She was only at 67%, and the law requires 69 to 75, so she finally got it up, so it's on 61 or 71%, which is still on the very low end. But as you can tell from where previously was at, I guarantee you that assessor sitting right there and her predecessor have done everything in their powers to keep our property assessed at the low end, period. And that I can speak of for a fact, because I've sat here for a long time, and I think this board would concur with that.
I would too. For the last 6 budget cycles, I've consistently seen the assessors stay at 70, 71, and that's something that this board is cognizant of, trying to keep it on that low side. In fact, we read into the record 50-some parcels yesterday, and every one that I read in that was real estate of agricultural nature was on the low end, 70, 71. Nothing at 72 or above. And I've said this before to other petitioners, we consistently get our hands slapped because we're too low, not because we're too high. And I do appreciate the process in which, if we really do drop the ball and we've overvalued something, the Turk process is there, and we have had folks that have used it. But historically, since the short time I've been involved, we haven't really been out of line a great deal, David, Amanda. And to your point about the valuation, the valuation, nobody wants their land value to go up because they automatically think they're gonna get more taxes. The levy is where the rubber meets the road. And
Right.
that's where the tax increases come from, is the levy.
Right.
And so my land has gone up exponentially. That's good and bad. It gives me better leverage with my banker. And down the road, my kids are gonna appreciate that because it's worth a lot more money than it was, when I was their age and so forth. So keep in mind, the valuation is something that the market's driving. There's crazy money out there and it's chasing real estate. And the assessor is bound by state statute, not by, their own system. It's a methodical thing. And after sitting on this side of the board for this many sessions, I have great appreciation for their challenges. And they work hard to keep those values down. They really do.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest job in the county.
I would agree.
Probably harder than Sheriff Kramer.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Can I point something out to David and Amanda and to the board? Because I think I didn't realize it when I first wrote the letter, but you mentioned, you have protested in prior years, and we didn't make an adjustment last year, but in 2022, we did make that adjustment due to the fact that we did recognize some issues along the levee with the pollution and stuff. So I put the soil map up there so you can obviously see the levee that goes through there. And the main soil type that borders that, the biggest percentage is the 85-81. And on...
north side.
Yeah. Right there, kind of where her little X is if you move that around.
Can you blow that up?
Yeah, right in that area that borders that levee. So in that entire parcel right along there, I have 85-81. Soil type has 66.25 acres. On the current cost sheet, Joe, that would be attached there, that shows the valuation at the 360 with my soil breakdown. If you go across, it shows that that particular soil type is valued at $1,140. So that is what my market area 1 soil type with the 1V1 soil type came in at this year for evaluation. Although when we made that adjustment back in 2022, that figure was a little bit higher, so we adjusted it down and we went to that 1,025. I believe in 2022, my lowest class soil was valued at 1,025, which 1G1 is a better quality soil, so that's why we brought it down to that lower quality value in 2022. So I had to override that value and put it in there like that. That value is still overridden. So that 66.25 acres are still being valued at $1,025 an acre. They're not at the 1,140 like it says on the sheet, but if you do the math and calculations, since that's an overridden figure over here, that price per acre still shows here. So we still are giving you that adjustment for those acres along there. So I do want you to realize that is. I think it's a difference in the $7,618 lower than
I think that's like 40% roughly
Yeah.
of the,
So I just want to make
No,
sure
thank
you
you.
are
It's
aware
good to
of
know those
that. Yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
And that's the 85-81 strip there.
Yeah, so it's not just the little 10 acres of borders or whatever you asked. I mean, it's the whole 66.25 acres are getting that lower valuation on that, with the lower quality. Okay?
Thanks for that breakdown.
Yep. On
actually
this
it's more,
particular
it's almost
parcel that we're
50%,
talking
I'd
about.
said
Right,
40-some
yeah.
percent.
Yep. Yeah.
Julie, thank you for pointing that out.
Yep.
That's real important. Hibners, I would just like to say I empathize with having a bad steward that impacts your land. It sounds like it really does. Unfortunately, lots of people have that situation going. We don't have the authority or the power to enforce the people around you to be good stewards of their land and do the right thing. But I do empathize with what you're dealing with there. I do know that it has an impact on your guys' operation.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and anything, as Julie pointed out, any small bumps like that are really appreciated. And honestly, the valuation change on this parcel is very small. I'd say it's probably within that that 1 to 3% COLA range that you would talk about with payroll and things like that, that would be not completely unreasonable. Any change isn't enjoyable, but
Sure.
no, this parcel's not terrible on that aspect.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, I'm going to make a motion that I move to accept the recommendation of both the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time. The evidence presented to both the assessor, referee, and to this board is not sufficient to warrant a change after all the evidence that we've read into the record and heard from the Hibners themselves. The land would remain at $199,360, and that is my motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Did you say a number 5, Joe?
I said a number 3, it might be
3.
wrong.
Sorry.
Okay, no, I just.
No, I didn't hear you.
Oh, okay. Roll call vote, please.
Brents,
Aye.
Woodruff,
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye. Okay. I'll give it a chance to look at this one. Is that okay?
On the next parcel, we could spare,
Can we, I'll go ahead and start this if we can on our next parcel and protest number that we have.
Yeah, I gotta read some things in for the record, okay?
He's a better reader than I am. He does a better job.
I have protest number 266. This is from Amanda Jean Hibner. David, I don't see you on this, just Amanda. Parcel ID is 60265.00. The real property description is part of section 36, township 14, range 30. This is 224.09 acres. The protested valuation for 2024 has land, or total valuation at $560,701. The requested valuation has land at $207,283, building improvements at $242,523 for a total valuation dropping down to $449,806. Reason for the requested valuation change: structural depreciation, land loss, weather damage, decrease in demand, etc. Please see the attached letter for reference. Have a
We thought
So-
instead of you reading the entire letter, we could just sum up the main points.
Yeah.
Because it's a long,
I would
Emotional
welcome that, but
if we could enter it to the official record,
The-
but we can still hit the high
the
points.
letter is part of the protest, so
Thank
it
you.
is part of everything,
so we
so.
can speed it up a little bit.
It's the funnest 2 weeks of the summer, right? On page 2, there's some points there that are numbers 1 through 5. Those are kind of our summation points. So of course, this one has a larger increase, about just shy of 7% from last year. So this one's a little bit more stressful, or a little bit more of a worth fighting for from our aspect. But I guess on to question number 1, we're just, and we're not we're not experts in this realm, but what are the factors that would make it jump $40,000 without any improvements, not even landscaping or anything minute?
Well, and I guess that premise to us comes from, we've had a lot of storms, as you all know, this within the last year. We do have quite a bit of hail damage. Our house is metal, all the siding, the roofing, all of it's metal. So there's a ton of hail damage, so saying we're going up, it's kind of hard to process when To us, it's kind of like a vehicle. Vehicle depreciates, you know, so you pay a little bit less hopefully on that every year. So I guess we're, the same notion, we would like it applied to household structures when it depreciates as well, but we do also understand.
I know the schools take a lot with their ask, as Kent mentioned. And that's one that nobody in this room can really control, but
Governor's trying to.
Governor's trying.
Yeah.
I hope that session goes really well.
Us too,
Us too.
David.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
I was reading that this morning.
I would like to maybe explain just a little bit what happened. We got a lot of that this year, that, you know, I did nothing to my house, I did nothing to my landscape, I did nothing. Why is my valuation going up again? And it is all based on sales, you know. When we run our sales and they come through, and we were in the suburban residential, rural residential, plus the inside the city in our plat, everything was overly low. Again, we fell out of compliance. So we got updated costing manuals to a 2020 value on the material cost. So when we start with your buildings, you start at that 2020, a newer level of value for the materials. And then we take in effect the year built.
2020 values for materials,
Sorry, did I
right?
say- Yes, 2020.
So that's an important
That's a
point.
good point.
Like,
So-
this isn't even including the inflation
Right.
pressures that we've seen over the past 2-3 years.
We did have to
So-
put even a little bit of an adjustment on those 2020 costs to get us in compliance, but by bringing that material costing more up to date, and that did raise the value of everybody's improvements on an ag, rural residential site, anything inside the villages, inside town, North Platte, everybody's improvement values went up to that new costing. And by doing that, we came in compliance in the rural areas as well, and so we didn't have to come in and put a blanket increase like we had to in the past if we would have fell out of compliance. If we would have still been out of compliance, we might have had to come in and give like another 4% increase to those areas, but just by updating that costing. So that is where you're seeing those building values go up, even though you did absolutely nothing. The market is showing that your house this year, you doing absolutely nothing to it, is going to sell more than it would have last year or the prior year, just because the market has went up that much in the last few years.
And to Commissioner Weems' point, there is a lot of crazy money out there, and that, you know, I looked at residential properties yesterday, and a number of those properties were being bought by investors out of Colorado or other places, a number of them. When I look at ag properties, and particularly smaller, I'm going to call yours smaller, ag properties, or ag properties closer to a larger living area, they will just about throw any amount of money there is to get that property, because there's so few of them, and so it does make a heck of a difference.
And to Kent's point on your last protest, with the guidelines that Julie and her team are given to keep those ranges in that 69 to 75% range. Chris, can you tell me what it says on this one? I'm guessing it's going to be 71. She does an awesome job in keeping them in that lower range. And it's my perception that if Julie isn't doing that proactively, if the state has to come in and do that, they're going to put it at the top of the range, because they don't want to have to come do that.
So, to that point, I think it's important for everybody to understand that if we are delinquent and we stay delinquent, the state does come in
Yes.
and takes over the process. And I don't think that the vast majority of property owners in Lincoln County, or really across the state, understand that fact.
Right. And my fear would be that they would just put it at the 75 percentile range, so they don't have to come back and do it in a couple more years. Julie and her team do a wonderful professional job in following state statute and the guidelines that they are given, and we don't have a lot of leeway.
Do you
This
have any
system is
photos
broken,
to
for
have
sure.
damage or anything? I mean, that's what we encourage. If you have photos of some damage that we're not aware of, bring those to us, bring them to the board. We can make some adjustments to those improvements if you, we can do an inspection or you can bring us photos, one of the two.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because it would need an inspection, because we sent pictures to insurance, they said we can't see anything because of the color of it, and so you'd have to come and see it in person. You literally have to get next to it. You see all the dings all the way around the building. But, so picture, I appreciate you saying that, because we tried
If they come
pictures.
in like early, first part of June, we can try to, sometimes we can get those physical inspections scheduled.
That's
and
good to know.
Staff can get out and get that looked at for you. So, just anything to help us and be able to make a judgment of our appraisal, if we're wrong or not on the condition and stuff for you.
Okay. Did you have anything else?
I did. I know statutorily you have to compare it to 3 like properties. We've requested to know, I guess, what properties it's been compared to determine the valuation for the last 3 years. I am interested to know what it's compared to, I guess, specifically.
It is unique in construction and layout and soils and location. And we haven't really found anything quite like it, as far as acreage and type of building materials and things to compare it to.
My land values will be, I will be looking at, yeah, you might have to take the soil types off for that. My land values on the grassland values and stuff will be compared to all of the grass.
Area 1.
The similar soil types in Area 1, the accretions along the river. And my Area 1 it is a big area. It goes from clear the east side of the county to the west, follows the river, the swath through there and stuff. So that is what I look at for sales. I did have quite a few sales. I always have a book of those too. I know the parcel sitting directly to the south of you, owned by Gotch Feeding Company, would probably be the most comparable to yours. There's one owned by Gotch there somewhere.
And I guess that's where our question
Maybe
was.
it's to the west.
Is
Is that Gotch's there?
Yep.
Yeah, there you
This
go.
one is.
Okay, but those are along the river, so his is valued exactly the same. His might not have the dike like yours, but we know he doesn't have that $1,025 adjustment on his either. But all the other properties that have, abut up against the railroad or have the river ground along there are being valued, specifically the same way as yours are. Like I said, I guess I feel I am maybe taking into account the difference of yours with the pollution, because we are leaving those acres adjusted, and everybody else in the county for that soil type is not, because they haven't brought me in anything showing that there's an issue with
So-
there's
And I-
along the river or the
Pictures
railroad.
Yeah, I guess
Those are unimproved.
specifically the house,
Yeah.
that parcel.
No, those are unimproved. So the housing and setting, like, the first acre with the house is valued at $45,000 an acre, and those will be looked at vacant land sales all throughout that market area 1. I'm sure Charity probably has a spreadsheet when we set those valuations. That's all information that we do have available in our office. Pop in, we can pull it up, and you guys are, we can show you whatever you guys want to. But we do have sales of all the ag sales. We do have the vacant land sales. She's got spreadsheets when she sets those values for our first acre home site. But all that's public record. It's all available anytime you want to come in and take a look. Because that is one thing, Tax Equalization Review Commission assessment has to be fair and equalized throughout the property, or throughout the county. So if we're not, we can really get ourselves in trouble there. So we work really hard at that.
Anything else? If not, we've got some other.
Yep. Okay, so letters and everything, testimony is going to be part of the record. At this time, I'm going to go with number 3. I move to accept the recommendation of the assessor and referee that the Hibners both met with, which indicates no change at this time. No evidence was presented to warrant a change. Therefore, land would stay at $262,807, improvements at $297,894 for a total valuation of $560,701.
Second.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Brett.
Aye.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you,
time. I
guys.
know you guys have a lot to get to, and
Thanks for coming in.
Yes, thank you. And-
David and Amanda, even though we can't help you out with this, I do want to compliment you on your kids' behavior
Yeah.
again.
Every
You
year.
guys have an
Every year.
awesome family.
It's amazing
We
how well
always-
behaved they are.
We always schedule it during the nap time. You'd think by now we would know that he's the boss. We
Yes.
change the schedule, but
He's adorable. He's just about there. His eyes are closed.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
If,
Thank you.
There's one parting idea that I had, if I may lend it for what it's worth. I don't know if a countywide rebate of sorts could be considered in years to come. Perhaps any revenue taken in from the increases over operationally needed, a 3%. Say the county takes in 10% more than the year prior. Perhaps property owners could get a rebate,
Or
a
tax
prorated, or
Yeah.
tax credit, a prorated rebate on the remaining 7%. Things like that. I just wanted to make that suggestion. And not in your chair, but take it for what it's worth, and hopefully maybe we can figure out something. I know this is probably the top concern for everybody in the state, and especially Lincoln County. So, thank you again.
Appreciate it,
guys.
thank you. We have another individual waiting to offer testimony, so.
Thank you.
See you guys. He's scheduled at 10.
Oh, he's scheduled it.
Do you want to
Is somebody
wait?
else here?
I'm
No.
sorry.
Do we have anybody else scheduled prior to,
No, I don't think so.
then he's here, let's take care
Let's
of it.
take it,
Okay.
yeah.
Mr. Rayner, would you come up and just have a seat for a moment? Read some things in and get some rules established, and then it'll allow you to introduce yourself and make whatever comments you wish to.
Good morning, Greg. I have your protest form here, protest number 356, Greg Renner, property ID 0086140.26, protested valuation of $491,167, asking it to be lowered to $365,910. This is on part of the south half of section 33-1230, 10.62 acres. Greg has attached a statement. On the 10.62 acres, property was just reassessed in 2023, raising valuations every year borders on fraud. No improvements made in years. In 2023, roughly 80,000. Okay, thank you. 80,000 in damage from wind hail. Adjustment info attached. County maintains absolutely nothing. Roads, right-of-way, snow removal, etc. Property values do not go up this fast. I would like to meet with the assessor, not a referee. Would like to appeal directly to the commissioners. So Greg did attach, there's also a second note on here that says, see wind damage. All posts, which are 8 feet tall, are broken. This is an example of the high wind accompanied by the hailstorm in 2023. Greg did attach a assessment from Battle Creek Mutual Insurance. That's who carries your home insurance. It's very lengthy, extremely detailed. Would you, Greg, like to speak to what your insurance adjuster said?
Okay, so first of all,
First of all, introduce yourself. I'm sorry, I apologize.
my name's Greg Renner, 19124 South Osage Court, North Platte, Nebraska.
Good morning, Greg.
Morning. The insurance, and of course, even though we file a claim and they show $100,000 in damage, and this is actual property damage to the structures on that parcel. That doesn't include the $20,000 or $30,000 in hail damage we had to vehicles, items like that. We just had one repaired at Remus finally, and that was $12,000 to repair just the hail damage from that storm for my daughter's car. So, and the hail was, there were some ping pong ball sized hail. Most of it was quarter sized, but we had, I don't know what they called it, a microburst or something. Anyway, high winds, 80+ mile an hour winds. It took a 8-foot tall fence and sheared every 4x6 post off on that fence. And I might have a photo of that, which I understand fences.
You did attach some photos
Okay.
to this protest, Greg. Do we have those that we can put up, or? The first one shows a door that was ripped off of, is this your barn?
That's the barn on
The
the back,
barn
yep.
there.
The door was actually blown off and it's leaning against the fence now because we're waiting for a contractor to come. They have to replace everything on the building because it damaged the actual structure of the building.
So
where
the
that door
rail
is.
and the
Yep,
track
and
all
the
needs-
track on the bottom was ripped off. And I understand they're minor things, but here's I guess my problem is, and I'm gonna give you credit, on the east side of the state, first time we tried to protest our property valuation increases, and they flat out told us they will not accept valuation protests because they're not gonna change anything anyway. So they said, don't waste your time, don't give us the paperwork. Quote unquote, Nemaha County. South Dakota, they said, stupid people come in and pay stupid amounts of money for property. They said, and you're one of them. So you're to blame. I mean, and it's 4 years of 6-digit increases on our property up there. I mean, so on my side, I look at this and I think this is out of control. And I understand there's inflation. But going back to our insurance statement, so they depreciate the structures. We don't, if there's $100,000 in damage, there might be a 19.2% depreciation. And then you have your deductible and then they pay. So you eat it not once on the deductible, you eat it twice because of the depreciation. And then getting a contractor or the materials, because some of this stuff you just can't get, is well beyond what they're willing to pay to repair, because they say, well, we're using the state average, but the majority of the damage is done on the east side of the state where a lot more contractors are and a lot more materials are available than we have out here. I'm having garage doors installed right now. A contractor from Colorado. I mean, it's USA Garage Doors. They do beautiful work, but they're booked. I mean, for a year, and not like concrete could be damaged, but a concrete contractor is booked out till next summer, and there's just nobody to do the work. And on the meantime, I'm already working 10 to 18 hours a day, 7 days a week myself, because just the bills are just astounding, and I own this property. I did today a screenshot on this property of Zillow showing it valued at $491,000, myself borrowing 90% loan to the assessed value. That put my payment at $2,823 a month for principal and interest. It shows that my taxes would be $238 a month, and my insurance would be $105 a month. That's an example how these sales, these people come in and they buy this stuff. The taxes are over, roughly $1,000. I'm paying roughly $1,800 a month in insurance and taxes on that property. Going by Zillow, I would only be paying $343. So people buy these properties that are unaware of this, and then they're hammered when it comes to the tax time, and now they're working, they might be house rich, but they're cash poor. I don't have the loan, but I'm now paying, like I said, $25,000 a year just to insure and pay taxes on my home. That's just unbelievable. If I had a mortgage, I would be paying $5,000 plus a month for this property. So, and I understand that's not your problem, but that's part of the problem. My neighbor's home directly to the north, a really nice couple from Arizona bought it. It was listed at $325,000. I offered $250,000 because to me, that's all it was worth. The local agent that listed that, the local company, listed that online and showed, and in the listing, which would still be available, that would be archived, showed a concrete foundation for a 2-car garage was poured and ready to go. That concrete, those people bought it sight unseen. That concrete foundation was a 10 by 12 concrete pad 4 inches thick for a shed. But I asked them how come they paid that for it. They specifically told me that property would have been twice that much in Phoenix. And when they got here, they were a little surprised it wasn't quite what they thought, but they're great neighbors. I love them to death. But they were lied to in the listing, and a lot of people buy stuff off a listing. I talked to my well driller in Newcastle, Wyoming last night. Farmers and ranchers are selling property up there that you can't find water on, but they're not telling you that. So then they hire a well driller to come out. It's $150,000, $200,000 to drill, and it's a dry well. They can't get water. And these people bought this land. It's worthless, but they paid ridiculous amounts of money for it, and therefore it's in the queue being used as a comp. And I factor in things like, and over Thanksgiving of 2021, our government doubled the tariff on lumber, doubled to 18%. So 18% of the cost of any board you buy is a tax to our government. Then you're paying 7.5% tax on top of that in the total price. There's so much tax built in to these properties that we're being taxed on the tax on the tax on the tax, and it just goes up every year at an unsustainable rate. And then when you sell a property, the majority of people, probably 90+%, sell it through a realtor. So you're paying a 7% real estate commission on an existing home, 5% on a new property. You're paying maybe points to the seller or buyer. Your concessions like homeowner's warranty or giving them appliances or whatever. You're not benefiting from that portion of the quote-unquote sale price of your home, but yet everybody's homes are being assessed with that included in that. And that's equity that you never realize in a home. So anyway, the property, I did take some photos. It's like the previous couple said, it is extremely hard to get hail dense. You have to be in the exact right daylight, usually in the very early morning hours, and the sun has to hit the wall exactly right to be able to see it. I got a couple photos that I took.
Attached to this was also, I showed the one photo around the table, but there's also this is a windbreak.
Yes,
here.
yeah, that's a cattle fence.
50-foot long, 8-foot tall, 4x6 posts set in huge concrete ballast.
The concrete ballasts are 3 foot in diameter that support that fence.
It does show that apparently the fasteners.
It snapped the post off the base.
Okay.
On every one of them.
So Julie, when you guys are assessing our properties, do our windbreaks and fences, are they part of the assessed value? They are not.
No, I attached that just to show an example of
The wind. Okay, thank you.
I'm aware of that's fences aren't supposed to be assessed.
So the most
No.
documentation you have here, Greg, is a very lengthy, 12, 13 page from your insurance company. So was this insured and have they settled with you
They've
for
paid a
repairs?
portion because we only can get, the house has been reshingled. The roof on the one shop was replaced. They said the other roof on the big shop, and they're saying it's caused because no hail hit a ridge on a seam it hit everywhere else, but not where it mattered. So that's uninsured. You know, like this photo here is where it blew one of our fuel tanks into the garage door and did that. I tried to put explanations. There's an example of a hail dent, you know, as you're going down the door. There's dents in the trim. There's what the hail did on a lot of our siding. Same thing on the metal trim. Siding. This is where they came back and, the painter came back and sanded this because the siding's a 50-year, it's smart side siding, so it's got a 50-year warranty, which doesn't mean anything because manufacturers don't cover anything anyway. But they said that we have to have our house power washed, scrubbed, some chemical sprayed on it, and then repainted. And those are just some examples. And there's, you know, a ping pong ball sized dent, one of the doors. Here's the mullion strips in the garage doors that are all broken. That's that same picture you've already got. The windows in our house are Anderson windows. Some of the sashes got broken, you know, by hailstones. Those have been replaced. I did that myself.
Charity, do you want to pass those around here? Greg, I would like to, while we're looking at your pictures, as a member of the roads committee and as a commissioner who have helped subdivisions get their roads dedicated to the county, I'm going to address your statement about, you know, the county maintains absolutely nothing, roads, right-of-ways, snow removal.
Within this section.
Within your subdivision. So was that a privately formed subdivision?
You know, when that was developed, I had nothing to do with it, so I wasn't aware. I know when we bought the property, it was auctioned because the developer, I don't know, went bankrupt or something. Anyway, we were not told that to my knowledge. And of course, you know, you don't really think it, but I will tell you, since December, I've spent $6,000 on aggregate. In the 14 years I've been out there, I have spent $40,000 plus.
Have you looked into what it takes to have your roads dedicated to the county?
They were all built to county spec. And I believe Joe and I had this conversation in a meeting here before, and he even admitted that they were built to county spec. Joe's got property out there too. And I'm not trying to harp on the county, but the thing is, my taxes are the exact same as an asphalt road around Lake Maloney, of the people, you know, that live out there. And from outside looking in, when I see the roads around Lake Maloney have been overlaid twice with asphalt since I built my home. You've got a golf course north of Maxwell that just got a dozen miles of asphalt. You've got county has overlaid asphalt in conjunction with the city on State Farm Road on land they don't even own. It belongs to NPPD, even though it's a public road. It's just not right if you're taxing people the exact same, that they're not, you know, when you're not accepting roads into into the county, and Buffalo County's doing the same thing too. And I can't say whether the county's getting federal funds for lane miles, I don't know. But I don't think it's liability-wise, where does the liability fall if we'll say a drunk driver comes down that road and runs over one of the children that lives out there? Or what if somebody breaks down and just some weird accident happens on that property? Who's liable? No landowner over there. Or it's the same with Horseshoe Lane and Windmill Road, they're north of the lake.
So
Let me try to address that. It's up to the homeowners to get together and decide if we want to request that the county accept that subdivision and maintained the roads. So that's something collectively we would
And I
need to do.
think it matters in how, I know for a fact that it matters in how it was platted when that subdivision was formed. So maybe finding that documentation.
Oh, it's in
But-
there, and it's not, the roads are
Yes.
considered private.
Right,
Which
the
I
roads
know
are
they are.
private. So I just wanted to address that. That is why the county does not come into your subdivision and grade and remove snow on those roads. It's
Well-
not that you're being denied
No.
something that other people are getting.
Were you trying to say, Mr. Rayner, that you feel that maybe because these other properties are receiving that service, that perhaps there should be some kind of consideration as the...
Well, like I said, in 14 years, I've probably spent 1,000 hours grading the roads. I can't count the blades on the box scrapers, the hours on my tractors, scooping snow, mowing, cutting down dead trees. The problem, and I'm going to be brutally honest, for the first 10 years we lived out there, we had one neighbor that was worthless. Another neighbor moved in later and was worthless. They contributed nothing. They just used. It's like a typical person that just consumes and doesn't appreciate anything. We have great neighbors out there now, absolutely wonderful. Everybody contributes, which is a godsend. But like the previous, I only caught part of the conversation. I'm assuming they have a neighbor that doesn't maintain their property. We don't have that problem. We've got great people out there. We have one landowner that's a out-of-state landowner that could care less. And he has 66 acres and he leases that land for $10 an acre, which isn't even enough to pay the property taxes, I don't believe, on his 66 acres. He's asking $225,000 for it, but he leases it for $10 an acre. He and his girlfriend died and he got the land for nothing. So, but the problem is for me, I said, I mean, it shouldn't be the landowner's expense to maintain a road that the public uses, and we can't control the public using those roads. We have the highway being done now. The last time they did a highway project out there, Western Engineering just used the road and they would park their equipment in what they thought would be the public right of way, and they tore it all up. Well, I fixed it. They didn't fix it, I fixed it. The state didn't care. We have people come in there, they'll drive up my drive, clear up to my barn, turn around, drive out. We have people that break down, their vehicles break down, they park in there, they're there for a couple days. We have people that park there in a snowstorm. We have people that come visit the landowners because everybody thinks it's a public road. Just like if I go to Will Schrothmeyer's old subdivision and I drive in, the one north of the canal, you are on a public road for 2/3 of it. And then it becomes a private road, unless it's been accepted into the county, I don't know. But you could tell for a lot of years where the county maintained the road, because in the wintertime, the snow would be scooped on part and not on the rest. And then the road slowly over time degrades and cracks, and it was horrible for a lot of time, in that area.
Here's where I get to be the bad guy, Mr. Rayner. As chairman of the group, I'm going to have to ask that because of the time frame and some other people coming in, if you have additional information or anything
Okay.
else you'd like to present.
No problem.
I'm going to have to ask that we kind of try to start wrapping this up a little bit.
The big thing for me is there's physical damage to the property, and some has been repaired, yes. I'm not opposed to an increase in the property value on a normal, you base it on the CPI or, the whatever rate of inflation, but a 10 or 11 or 12% jump this year after we just had an increase last year and these massive increases, that's not living in reality. When I can read in the newspaper Mike Jacobson's statement from yesterday, or the lumber tariff that causes that, done by the Commerce Department, or the school district telling me that even though that they're going to drop the levy 7 points, my taxes are gonna go up $2,000 a year to the school district alone on the same house because of the increase in property valuations. And then you look at kind of the quality of what we're kicking out of the school, and yet we're supposed to give them more, even though the levy goes down, because it just seems like our taxes never go down regardless of what we're told between TIF, development, bringing in all these businesses. You see record in the newspaper, 15 straight months of record sales tax for North Platte. Record lodging taxes for the county every month. And yet our taxes, we never see this promised reduction or savings or our taxes plateauing for really even a year or two. They just constantly go up. So, and when you have damage to your property, theoretically, you would think your property value would be assessed lower at least until that damage is repaired. Because if I go to sell the property right now as is, I'm the one that takes the beating because it hasn't been fixed.
So I would just like to remind everyone that the protested valuation is $491,167. The requested valuation is $365,910. Greg, can I ask, where did you come up with that figure? Is that last year's valuation?
I went off the previous valuation of $445,910, and I dropped basically $80,000 in damages off the valuation, and that wasn't the total amount of damage, including, deductibles and depreciation. That was just basically, I figured 80% of $100,000, which is close to where the damage was.
This protest was reviewed by Charity. Charity's recommendation is no change, only provided the adjuster's estimate, requested photos of the damage to be brought into the hearing with the county board, and you did do that.
Kayla, she is running, going in.
Oh, she's gonna run, get something?
Yeah, she went to
Okay.
go run a couple of numbers and she'll be right back.
Okay.
After seeing
Very
those
good.
photos, I think she maybe.
Well, and I was out of town, so I could not get them earlier.
So-
That's why she told him
I
to bring it today.
want to make just a couple points. Mr. Renner, we all empathize with the trajectory of the federal and really government at all levels, and we do our best at the county to be very fiscally responsible stewards of
And
your
I
tax
agree
money.
with you on that.
I'm going to make a point that while I think all of us wish we had another route that we could do valuations offered to us, the state legislature, we have to follow the
Bring it
state
up
law,
here,
and we
please.
can only use sales. And it's frustrating. But that's the method by which the unicameral has decided that counties across the state have to do our valuations for. So CPI, I would love if we could just do a CPI and utilize that, but unfortunately, that's not a tool that we can utilize. Now, we'll see what happens this special session. I think, I'm fingers crossed, I'm praying very, very ardently that.
I am too.
The government, I'm not gonna hold my breath though.
Yeah.
Because we know what can happen at different
My big thing though is
levels of government.
if your taxes are here and they put them here and then they have them, they're right back to here again, and then they just continue to climb anyway, so they're gonna get you one way or the other.
This board is doing what we can to, because the tax levy is a completely different conversation than what we're doing right here. It's related, but it's different. At our level, we're doing everything we can to hold the line. The past 3 years, we've reduced our property tax request.
And I appreciate that.
Okay, Commissioner Wooler.
Greg, I think you're gonna be pleased. The photos that you brought in your commentary here today,
Has made a
Charity,
difference.
it has made a difference. And I'm glad that you take the time to exercise your rights with us. Charity went, after considering the photos and the testimony, she ran some new numbers. Charity, would you like to speak to?
I just gave 5% for your hail, 5% functional for your hail damage that still needs fixed.
so.
And number-wise,
So,
read what that does, please.
number-wise, that would leave the land at $40,310. Take the dwellings down to $367,125,000. Improvements at $64,410 for a total reduction to $471,845.
I can live with that. I appreciate
So
it.
about a $20,000 reduction in overall value.
I appreciate that,
So my
thank you.
motion will be, after testimony, number 6, after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor, I move to lower the valuation to the assessor's
That be
recommendation.
number 9, would that be new evidence that we just got, because she didn't have
Oh,
that?
very good, I think you are right.
It would be 11,
Well, 11, I move, because there was no referee.
and it would be presented at the
Oh,
protest
yes,
hearing.
you're right.
I
11.
agree, thanks. It takes all of us to come up with that
No, the
decision
11
sometimes.
11 says with referee.
Oh, with referee is 11, okay, let's keep looking, you guys.
Just make a motion there if you'd like. Curious.
I think
Period.
Yeah,
it's,
it's
They'll write it
right,
in.
number 6 would be fine.
Number 6, okay, back to my original.
Evidence.
After, number 6, after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor, I move to lower the valuation to the assessor's recommendation.
Thank you.
I'll second that. I guess the main part is there was the lower.
The lower matters.
We'll
Okay,
call.
I'm gonna write that in there real quick before I forget what I said.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. All right, moving on. I
Thank you.
also have,
This one's really quick, just so you know.
thank you, we're gonna hold you to that. Protest 366, Greg Renner for property ID 0086140.50. This is part of the south half of section 331230, 30.75 acres. Protested valuation $72,233. The requested valuation is $67,968, which is the previous year's value. See attached sheets and pictures. The statement for the request is valuation was changed in 2023. Land has a cattle barn on it with 2 dry lots. See damage to building caused by wind, cattle, and horses. Sliding doors were destroyed. 1 door was ripped off and destroyed by wind. Absolutely nothing done to the property in years. Would like to see the commissioners. So these are new pictures. This is a close-up of the side of the barn.
And I brought more pictures. Which I-
So Greg, this is the building at the end of the road as you
Clear on
come
the
in?
east, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And here's another picture that shows, north side of the barn shows damaged by livestock.
Uh,
16-foot door destroyed by the wind, side of barn.
that's the
These
south side.
pictures were submitted
that's where
with
the
the
door
protest,
ripped
correct?
off. There's some hail dent. I mean, it's not as bad as what we got a little further to the east or west. That's probably the same picture that you already have, I'm assuming.
They said that the door is blown off, correct?
And they're destroyed. They have, we can't reskin them. The frames are destroyed from animals. You know, I guess what I'm trying to get at is livestock's hard on stuff. These aren't wood buildings anymore that, you know, we're old growth forestry. It's paper thin tin. And we even beefed all of our doors up with 3/4 inch treated plywood behind that. And they're steel framed. They're still beat up like that to a point they're not operable. We can't even move them. They're gonna come off and be rebuilt. That was my point, was there's gotta be some,
She's running.
okay, where the, you know, there's damage, and I'm not even talking about the fences or anything, I'm just talking the building, because you get two cows in heat or a bull or whatever, and they destroy stuff. So, just like they destroy a pasture, they destroy buildings. So,
Good. Okay, so,
She's taking us to
Yeah,
Did-
Charity ran,
Thank
or
you.
Ashley maybe ran.
And I just was gonna say, was her letter in here? If it is, just make
No.
comments.
It wasn't
On the
reviewed by,
land? Okay.
no, not on the land. It wasn't reviewed by Julie in that sense. It was reviewed by Charity.
Oh, I thought maybe she, okay, thank you.
No.
I will make a comment about the land also.
Okay.
When we're done here, but I just changed the building and the 2 lean-tos to below normal
Okay.
condition.
All right. So this was reviewed by Charity. Before your testimony, there was no change recommended, but after testimony and your pictures, Greg, Charity is recommending that the land be at $25,187, improvements lowered to $44,340 for a lower assessment of $69,527.
Thank you.
My motion will be
6.
6 again. Thank you, Commissioner Weems.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor, I move to lower the valuation to the assessor's recommendation.
Second. Oh, sorry, did you?
No?
Second.
Hughley,
Aye.
Brents,
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Charity,
Just
thank
for
you.
clarification too, your land is not valued the same as what's along Lake Bologna on a paved road?
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the actual
Their first
road.
acre is just 45,000.
And they don't know
Your
that.
whole 10 acres are at 40,000.
I
So you are
understand.
not valued the same.
No, I'm just
You
talking,
understand that.
we're all paying the same levy,
Yes.
but they have an asphalt road, we don't even have a road that's maintained by anybody but us, so.
No, I understand that. I just,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Greg, can I keep these pictures and attach them to your, very good.
Yes.
Thanks. It was nice seeing you today.
Are you going to be in town for a while today?
Yes.
Thank you.
I got donuts for everybody.
Thank you.
Well, you got some for the rest of them.
That was a big mistake. Setting them by you. Hey, Chairman.
Yes.
I'm hearing some requests for a break.
I think that the sub-chairman suggested we take a 5-minute break.
The
We'll be in
chairman twice
We'll be in
removed. Is that
recess
how he
for
referred
5
to you?
minutes.
Maybe, is it 3
threatening
times
you.
removed?
Tammy, make sure you get a donut, please. I needed some.
So Charity, when I'm, oh, she left. Henry, you'll be able to answer, Julie. When I'm putting her amounts in here, where does the improvements go? Because it's
It
just,
adds with the building. so you
okay,
add
just
those
add
two
that
figures
number.
together.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Math is hard. I'm really glad that Charity went and ran those numbers, because that wasn't gonna be my recommendation.
I think it's fair. I was going to say that we need to look at that because that's information that came in afterward. Appropriate.
Some of it.
Not a lot,
Some of
but,
it.
yeah.
He was out of town and wasn't able to.
That's what Charity
She told me
said,
bring it, she'd
so.
make adjustments
You know,
today.
that guy.
Nice. I like how you guys work
He does
with
work
people.
7 days a week, about 12 hours a day. He works down east with his cable. Comes home about once every 3 weeks for a day to try to catch up stuff around the house. And I'm telling you, the guy gets up at 5 in the morning, usually goes to bed about 10 at night. The guy is a workaholic. I mean, he just is.
I've known Greg and Kara for a long time. He is a hard worker, and their kids have inherited that.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Who do we have coming in next? June.
I have no idea. I don't even know that these people are coming in. I just have a Weaver and a Western Tabor Ranch, but this person says the 23rd at 11:30 is, Jay Weaver and Maria, the appraiser.
Marcia?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jay Weaver's coming in?
Yeah. Oh, Christ. Oh, no, hold it.
They're married.
I did not know that. I've known Jay a long time. I see him all the time out
Oh,
there.
hold it. I made the mistake of coming up about a year ago.
We're on.
Yeah.
Live stream.
I never made that connection. Is that not weird how all of a sudden you realize something?
Yeah. It was last summer.
Thanks,
Chris.
Okay, so. I wondered.
Didn't know Dunkin' Donuts did DoorDash.
They do. DoorDash is my favorite.
I've even seen them out in my neck of the woods.
Really?
Yep.
That far, huh?
Yep.
Huh.
I gave Patrick the Dickens one day for using it at his house, and he said, for what little they charged, I couldn't drive to town in his, because his car's kind of a gas hog. And he's like, I was busy working and was hungry and didn't want to stop, so DoorDash.
You know what? I'm one of those guys, just like you. I don't know, I'm just old school.
Yeah. me
It's getting to
too.
be now that people just do that with everything they get.
Yeah. I still like going into the store and picking out my own produce. If I never needed fresh fruits and vegetables, I would probably do the online stuff.
So if these are people that we're gonna hear from, do we have any idea what time Table Ranch Apartments is scheduled to come in?
I believe they're at 11.
Okay, well, so we've got 11 or 1:30, I'm for 11 here.
Yeah, they're at 11.
And I am gonna actually take some time to read these, because these are thick, interesting things.
I know Tabor, we're still waiting on a judgment from Turk
On who?
on Tabor's.
We've been to Turk, but we don't have a.
We haven't had
Ruling
a
back.
ruling yet,
And they're coming in to protest again.
again. And what they've done their income. They've sent us all the income, and we've run the income. And what they did this year to lower it, they didn't.
You know,
put
we are
interest in
still on, so just so
depreciation.
you know, okay.
We didn't put their interest on, you said this year.
They deducted the interest and depreciation. You're not supposed to.
Oh, now you're throwing things at me, Joe. I don't
Okay,
have
sorry
time
about
to,
that.
I'm gonna dip real quick.
I'll say it's a good thing that we only have 30 at this rate, so between the ones that people have coming in, we'll just have to fly through the other ones over.
Get ready.
Well, I have yet to do my first one.
Oh, no. That's yours probably.
No,
Thank you, Chris, for the rules.
yeah, thank you. You're not nearly as bad as Joe says.
Who dropped the $5 donation that can go into a kitty?
What?
Somebody put a $5
Sprinkles, pink sprinkles.
bill underneath the donut box, and I'm just gonna put it in Tammy's office and tell her to put it toward the next bid.
Here, so.
No, no, no.
Oh,
No, I'm not asking for donations, I did this on my own accord, so.
is anybody prepared with what?
I am.
Okay, wait just a second here. We'll get started on this.
just us.
Okay,
It's not taxpayer money, so.
we'll get started again. It's 10:40. I believe, Commissioner Williams, do you have one you could start with?
I do. Protest 320, Adrian Martinez. Parcel is 00-32780.00. Also identified as Reinhardt Subdivision 6. Protested value, land $44,330. Improvements or buildings, checking your cars, but 129, 246, and 1386 for a total of $174,962. Requesting a deduction of down to $15,376 on land and buildings of $128,638 for a total of $144,356. And he does have attachments, meaning photographs. This went to referee. Charity, you worked this for the assessor's office. So I'm going to read your comments into the record. Charity says no change. Sales of similar size one-story houses in this neighborhood range from $113.51 a square foot to $169.28. This subject property is assessed at $121.50 per square foot, and at the lower end of this range. See the attached spreadsheet. She has one that shows those relative footages. The referee took the testimony, and the petitioner stated to Marcia, the exterior siding has hail damage, the shed leaks, the fuse box located, which is not up to code, which is certainly not up to code. But that's up to them to take care of that. The air conditioning unit is approximately 20 years old. The crawl space is poor drainage due to leaking, due to the grading. Percentage increase is not reasonable. Marcia comments, the information presented by the property owner was insufficient to warrant a decrease in the assessed value. But she concurs with Charity to leave the land at $44,330. The improvements, $130,632 for a total value of $174,962. So my motion's number 5.
Second.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hillsley.
Aye.
Brents.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
I have protest 344 for Michael Hisrote. Property 0029470.00, 2311 West 6th Street, Minix Subdivision 7 and 8, Lot 2. Still looking it over here. Protested valuation is $136,702. Request it be lowered to $111,000. The reasons provided are, we do not believe our property has increased in value by $25,847. We have made no improvements to our property. There is HUD housing on our block. To the west of us and across the street from us are buildings in disarray and in much need of repairs. In several blocks around us on 6th, there is ample need of improvements to get our property to this valuation. This was reviewed by Ashley. Her recommendation is no change, insufficient evidence to warrant a change. And Ashley, I don't see any pictures or just his statement there.
I never got pictures, I never talked to him or anything.
Okay. It also went before a referee, and the referee agreed with Ashley's recommendation, information provided to the owner was not sufficient to warrant a decrease in value. I also noticed, Ashley, back on the notes page, there's a note that says this house was completely rehabbed in 2015. So the house, it's my impression that it's in pretty good shape. My recommendation, so I'm gonna go with, after testimony, number 5, after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time, evidence presented does not warrant a change.
Second.
Hughley,
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
I have protest number 191. This is from a Matthew and Crystal Welch. The property ID is 48325.00. The real property description is the Westfield Incorporated replat of Block 6 and 7, Lot 6. The protested valuation for 2024 has land at $65,040, buildings and improvements at $228,851 for a total valuation of $293,891. The requested valuation has land dropping down to $26,953, building and improvements down to $227,981 for a total valuation of $254,934. Reason for requested valuation change is, per the protesters, a 59% increase in land valuation is not justifiable, requesting a fair valuation. The assessor's office reviewed this. They also did see the referee. However, no evidence was presented at either one of those other than their testimony on the thoughts of it not being justified or fair. It would be my recommendation number 3. I move to accept the recommendation of the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time. No evidence was presented to warrant a change.
Second.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
All right.
Okay, here we go, my first one. Protest number 200, Mr. Kevin Stewart, 720 East E Street, property ID 0033125. The real property description is Residence Park Sub 816. Protesting the total valuation of $146,608, requesting $120,000 based on no changes in last 7 years. There are some pictures, some photos that are attached. This did go to the referee. The referee and Ashley agreed. No change, insufficient evidence to warrant a change. All south side was reviewed and received updated costing and land revalued. So this is going to be a number 5. After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time, evidence presented does not warrant a change. So the land will stay at $22,676. Improvements, $123,932 for a total of $146,608. Number 5.
Second.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Protest 336, Fred D. Zog Jr. and Terry L. Zog. Parcel is 0084375.00. Is that where the decimal is?
Yes.
After the 5? There we go. Part is also described part of the southeast quarter of section 4, township 13, range 31, 50.03 acres. Protested value is $90,209. The requested value is $85,294. This is on a small center pivot and dryline parcel around, I guess. The referee heard this, and Ashley looked at this. Mr. Zog sent in, or the Zog sent in some color pictures. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking, this isn't the center pivot, this stuff in there was parcel. This is on a steel building and land. So the pictures do show some of the degradation of the steel building. Ashley comments that they changed the condition on this steel building to below normal It leaks, needs a new roof, has multiple holes in the wall, non-insulated. Those pictures reinforce that. The assessor, Marcia says, testimony from the petitioner says metal building leaks in its poor condition. The referee's comments are, I agree with the assessor's recommendation to lower the assessed value. So those folks are in agreement. Ashley as well says the land remains at $56,687, but the improvements would be slightly reduced to $29,224 for a total value of $85,911. The motion is number 9.
Second.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
I have protest 315 for Brian and Roxanne Lee, 702 South Ash. Property ID is 0022733.00. Crew's first replat. Protested valuation is $251,533, requesting it be lowered to $220,000 even. Reason is we removed a handicap ramp, bird bath, and rose bushes after we purchased it in 2020. There are more and more neighbors not taking care of their property. Does that increase our value because theirs is crappy? This was reviewed. Also, I would like to point out that there was a appraisal done. The appraisal is quite lengthy. It came in at, let me find that page.
What is the date of the appraisal? Would be a question I would have too.
6/27 of 24, so just
Last
this
month.
last month. The appraisal came in at $228,000 even. This was reviewed by Ashley. Her recommendation is no change. After making adjustment per the appraisal, the value would increase. Unable to get to the appraisal value. Ashley, can you explain that to me?
So using the information provided in the appraisal, there's a finished like man cave area in their detached garage that we did not have. Yes, please.
And there are pictures that show the man cave. I mean, the entire property is very nice.
I love how that's.
Yeah, so I changed the,
Yeah, it is.
changing the square footage of the
Yeah.
house, the square footage of the attached garage,
Like
and
she
the covered
shed.
patio,
She shed.
and
Man
then
cave.
adding the finished area in the garage, plus adding the rough plumbing and 2 fixtures. I would actually have to raise it, so, from what we had. So no, I could not, making those changes, I couldn't get to the appraised value.
Okay, and the pictures support, the home is very nice, the man cave and the she shed, which you didn't have in your original. It did go before the referee. The referee disagreed with the assessor's recommendation. She recommended that we lower the value. The appraisal completed by a certified appraiser should be reviewed. The value of the subject should not exceed the estimate of value in the attached report. I'm going to ask my fellow commissioners to weigh in on
Actually,
this
I do
before I
believe-
make my recommendation.
Ashley didn't have any issues. She didn't think, sometimes we don't agree with some of the stuff in the appraisal, but this appraisal, we didn't really have any issues with the
No
cost.
issues.
No, it was
appraisal.
just
But
making
we
those
just-
changes.
Just using the guidelines that you use, you could not get to the same number as
Yeah.
the appraisal.
You might
actually
give a
raised the value.
recommendation
Making
as
those
to what
changes.
things, how you would do that, whether you would do it grade, condition, functional, you might give some hint if you were to do it and try to make a recommendation, where would that probably come from?
To change it to get into that.
We can't pull it out of thin blue air, so it would be nice to have some guidance.
What'd you say the amount was from that appraisal?
220, let me verify so we are correct. $228,000 and ours was 251.
Yeah, and making those changes, I don't, of course, I didn't write a number down, but I was actually going up from that 251.
Yes, it did,
So,
yeah.
I know I did make those changes for 2025, but as far as the appraisal was concerned, I don't disagree with any of the comps or anything that were in there. I just couldn't get to that appraisal value.
I would like some input.
I think in the
and
past, some of them that I have encountered with that, we've gone with the appraisal if the appraisal appeared to be valid.
And then we just go in and make that note that we couldn't get to the appraisal, but the county board
What's the
recommended it.
spread
So
between the
we
two?
like
I'm sorry.
override that value.
251 to
So it's for this year
228.
anyway.
So 228 was the appraisal and ours was 251 and change.
And it's a solid appraisal, it's not a,
Who did the appraisal?
I guess I didn't even look, let me see. Jeff Bain,
and it just got done?
it just got done last month.
Yeah.
I've had 4 of those and I've gone with the appraisal on 3 of them.
And I believe.
I would recommend going with the appraised value, and we just put a note in there that we couldn't get to.
Get to the appraisal value.
So that would be number 12. I move to lower the valuation to the appraised value. I don't have to mention that it went before the referee.
No.
I mean, I've already kind of read that in.
It's read
Okay.
into the record, so
Very
you've
good.
covered
So
that.
my motion is number 12. I move to lower the valuation to the appraised value.
Is there a breakdown on that?
Second.
We'll leave the land value the same probably.
That lowers the improvements to $184,479 for a total of $228,000.
Alright.
Thank you all for your input.
Hughley?
Aye.
Brents?
Aye.
Woodruff?
All right,
Weems?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye.
Okay, I have protest 199. This is from a Kevin Stewart. The property ID number is 89125.00. The real property description is C.W. Anderson subdivision, lot 19. This is 8.72 acres. The protested valuation for 2024 in total has land at $50,952, improvements at $190,191, for a total valuation of $241,143. The requested valuation brings the total down to $130,000. The reason for the requested valuation change is very little work has been done in the last year as I do all the work myself. I injured my shoulder and had surgery in January, was not able to work on anything until the end of May. They did, it looks like Charity in the assessor's office reviewed this, and it did also go to a referee, both of which are recommending no change. The assessor's office notes say no change, and the protester did provide a bunch of photos of unfinished space in the house, but Charity already accounts for that in her comments. No change, the house is being assessed at 55% complete for 2024. The unfinished items are being accounted for with the 45% functional depreciation. Again, the referee agrees, no change. The information provided by the owner was not sufficient to warrant a change. It would be my motion number 5. After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time, the evidence presented does not warrant a change. I would move to accept both of their recommendations of no change.
second.
Woodruff?
Aye.
Weems?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye.
Hughley?
Hughley?
Joe?
Joe?
Aye.
Brents?
Aye.
Okay, protest number 98. Name on this is, I'll spell it E-L-L-I, capital V, LLC. They only have a post office box. This is lot 35, Mill Isle Boat Club. Property ID is 88560. They are protesting the valuation, and this would be improvements only, leasehold improvements, $264,485. They're requesting zero valuation. See Exhibit A. There are 5 points on Exhibit A. I'll read part of number 1. The 24 tax assessed value is void as a result of failure to comply with Nebraska Revenue Statute, revised statute 77-1301 by failing to complete the assessment of real property on or before March 19, 2024. It goes on and on. I'm not going to go into all of that detail. Julie Stinger the county assessor has a letter statement dated May 20th that states from the standpoint that due to the large number of parcels, they were not able to get them all done by March 15th, but you had some March 19th. Would you go ahead and finish your statement on?
We knew he wasn't going to meet the March 19th certification date, so we did write a letter requesting to the Department of Revenue to give us an extension on time, which is allowable. And we did receive, and I have email confirmation that we had the extension to a certain deadline. And then we have to get everything ready for Turk, so they are only, allow you a certain number of days to do it. We still weren't going to be completely done. We had a snow day or two hit, so we missed a couple days in there. So we were also directed, and I'm not sure if I attached those with there or not, because I didn't know that's what he was going to attach with his protest, but we have a letter stating from the Property Assessment Division Tax Commissioner to go ahead and certify by the certification date, and then those that did not get done, you guys remember we had a box of about 100 of them that came to you.
About 120.
That we did, 120, yeah, we did the overvalued or undervalued is how she suggested doing that, of the ones that didn't get completed. That way we would be totally done and everything would be equalized throughout the county, because that state statute allows us to do that for, it's all in state statute. So we did not do anything outside of what the law allows.
So it's not void because we did follow state statute.
Correct.
And the allowable tools
Yep.
and
We
mechanisms that were
requested the
provided by
extension
law.
and was granted it, and then followed the protocol
And-
after the fact.
And there must have been some realization that that was going to happen, because points 2, 3, 4, and 5 follow in line that could happen. So number 2 is total living space was different than what was actually listed. So what has happened is this went to the referee as well. The referee says there's no sufficient evidence that legitimizes the decrease in value. But Henry looked at this, and he did review the information with the taxpayer, and they corrected the living area to 840 square foot instead of 872, and put some square footage in a tool shed. So it did lower the valuation, and that is what my recommendation is going to be.
Just a heads up, Jerry, we're going to Turk on the 30th from last year's value.
Okay?
So just a heads up, so you know that's coming.
Yeah, and this is one big, thick packet of information, and I'm going to summarize it by saying that we are lowering new evidence, and this would be this would be number 6, would it not, Julie? We're lowering.
Did he see the referee?
Oh, yes, he did. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm
That would
sorry.
be
That's
my
right.
only question. I don't
Okay.
know what, I
Yeah,
don't know
so
what her,
this is, yeah, this is a number
if
9.
she agreed with us or not on that.
She did not agree. She agreed that that there was no reason to lower it.
Okay.
Henry did lower it a little bit. So this is a number 9. After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, I move to lower the valuation to the assessor's recommendation, which is, land is 0, obviously, but the buildings are $262,723, number 9.
Second.
Williams.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley. Brents.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Could I ask, which party was to come in at 11, one at 11 or one at 11:30?
Timber Ranch, I believe she said was 11.
White is,
Thank you.
Protest 337, Fred D. Zog Jr. and Terry L. Zog. Parcel is 00 84885.00, further described as Lot 1, and accommodation. I'm not sure what that abbreviation means. Section 34, Township 14, Range 31, 32.57 acres. Protested value is $268,224. Requested deduction on the aggregate is $235,593. They write interior and exterior damage to house, no installation in garage, and tree fell on an outbuilding, and some other illegible script. They did provide many recent photographs. The referee heard this as well. Ashley represented the assessor's office on this one. The testimony, the petitioner states to Marcia all of the interior finishes are dated and worn, which are indicated in the photographs attached. Marcia says, I agree with the assessor's recommendation to lower the assessed value. And Ashley says, I added 10% more functional to the house for the water damage, missing siding, and other issues. Changed or shed to $1 per square foot. And so she and Marcia agree that the land would remain $70,367. The improvements would be reduced to $168,879 for a total value of $239,246. My motion is number 9.
Second.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Brent.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
I have protest 342 for Jennifer Thomas, 0036501.05 at 1302 Hackleberry Road. The protested valuation is $242,678. She is requesting it be lowered to $210,361, I believe. Reason for request, requesting no change from the 2023 valuation. There is no way the ridiculous increase is correct. Our home needs new roof, siding, windows, doors, interior repairs, etc. She did submit several pictures of damage to the home. This was reviewed by Henry. Henry's recommendation is after reviewing the taxpayer information, he did change the condition to normal and corrected the plumbing fixtures. It did go before the referee, and the referee agreed with Henry's recommendation to lower it to land at $26,558, buildings down to $193,347 for a total lower valuation of $219,905. My motion is number 9.
Second.
Hughley.
Aye.
Brent.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
I have protest number 152. This is for a Terry Castledine on behalf of Linda Donko. The property ID is 87345.00. The real property description is Lake Maloney, lot 71, improvements only. The protested valuation for 2024 has the improvements at 300 and improvements, actually the total valuation, which is only improvements, at $370,543. The requested valuation brings that down to $250,000. Reason for the requested valuation change: the property is used to have an additional structure near the water, a boathouse that was removed. There is now only one structure currently on the property, and it is just a shell. There are no utilities connected. There is no kitchen or bathroom. Interior is to the studs with no insulation or drywall. The only flooring original, carpet from the 1960s, and throw rugs that are not permanent. Over 50% of the structure Has no flooring. It's just a structure with no improvements, therefore requesting valuation to be adjusted. Looks like Ashley reviewed this, changed the condition of the cabin to very poor and removed the bathroom, being the leasehold, and also states that the leasehold is equalized with other lakefront properties. They did also see the referee. The referee recommends to lower, and that they agree with the assessor's recommendation to lower the value. It would be my motion number 9, that after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, I move to lower the valuation to the assessor's recommendation, which would bring the, I misread earlier. Sorry, I need to clarify that. The protested valuation for 2024 had the improvements at $385,989. The recommendation, which I am making my motion to bring it to from the assessor's office, drops that down to $370,543. So I apologize if there was any confusion there, but I hopefully got that clarified for the record.
Second.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley. Brett.
Aye.
Protest number 360 of Mr. Gordon Gardner, 2616 Lynn Court here in North Platte. Property ID is 36504.30. Real property description is Russian Olive Estates, 4th replat of Russian Olive Estates sub 9-3, lot 1. They are protesting the overall valuation of $199,061, requesting $165,050 based on, please see attached explanation, appraisals, and comparables. There is a appraisal done. It did go to the referee, and the appraisal was done by a Stacy Collins at BXB or something like that. What was the name of the company? I'm not familiar with it.
She just moved back from Oklahoma.
Okay. Appeared to be a reasonably justified appraisal. Was your opinion, Henry? Okay. There was an agreement between the referee and with the assessor's office to lower the valuation a bit based on, Henry changed the condition on the additions to normal, corrected the square foot of the detached garage down to 768 square foot instead of 1,000 something. Comparable properties that were used in this appraisal and what he is mentioning are manufactured homes, not comparable to this structure. So my recommendation is going to be, this is going to be lowered a slight bit based on evidence that went both to the assessor and to the referee, and I am going to, this will be a number 9. After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, I move to lower the valuation of the assessor's recommendation, which is land at $19,500, buildings at $170,996 for a total of $190,496. Number 9.
Second.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Brett.
Aye.
Woodruff.
All right.
Protest 338, Fred D. Zog Jr. and Terry L. Zog. Parcel is 0085575.00. Further described as part of the northwest quarter of Section 3, Township 13, Range 31, 83.99 acres. Protested value is $281,800, requesting a reduction to $266,911. They state actually coverage 52.07 acres under pivot, no end gun. The referee heard this protest, and Julie looked at it for the assessor's office, and apparently, Julie, did they provide you the FSA map?
Yes.
Okay, so they provided an FSA map that indicates how the acreages are cropped, and Julie recognized that she concurs that the irrigated portion is less. So, and Marcia's Protest report says the subject pivot cannot cover the corners and grass only around the pivot. And she recommends, I agree with the assessor's recommendation, lower the assessed value. Julie says that we should lower the value to $278,989 due to the fact of the in-gun not watering as much as normally indicated. And the referee, of course, agrees. So my motion is number 9 to move the value to $278,989.
Second.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Brett.
Aye.
Woodruff. Weems.
Aye.
I have one here that needs a correction. Nikki, help me out. So do I have to rescind the motion that was made on this?
I don't quite know how that works.
They do.
Okay.
Send it at the wrong value and read it in as the correct one.
Okay, this is one that I read in the other day and was off by $1 on the amount that I wrote in. I know. I was really hoping I didn't do that this year. So I am going to make a motion to rescind my motion for protest number 178 for property ID 0029795.00.
Second.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems. Wheeler.
Aye.
I'm gonna try one.
Can I read this one and
Oh,
finish
please
it?
do.
Okay, thank you. So I have protest 178 for Barry Britton on property ID 0029795.00 at 104 North Sheridan Avenue. That's his address. It would appear that this is for property located at 1801 West First Street. Protested valuation is $189,688. Request it be lowered to $143,271. The house is around 60 years old with original cabinets, countertops, flooring, trim, doors. 17 of 21 windows are mostly original. Original carpet, other carpet at least 15 to 30 years old. This was reviewed by Ashley. Her recommendation was change the condition of the duplex to normal for its age. That did lower the valuation. It put the land at $34,800. The improvements down to $142,929 for a total of $177,728. My recommendation is number 6. After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor, I move to lower the valuation to the assessor's recommendation.
Second.
That doesn't add up.
The 177.
My second does or what?
Those are the numbers that I read off of right here. So 34,800 was the land.
Yeah,
142,929.
yeah.
And it says 177,728. And so it should be 29. That's the dollar I was missing. Okay.
Almost had to rescind it again.
Almost. Thanks for catching it.
You meant motion though, right? Not suggestion.
Motion, number 6. Are we done yet?
Not quite.
So with the correction, then my second stands.
Okay.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Is it okay that I change the 8 up here
Yeah,
to a
and I
9
can
then?
initial
Okay.
I just have one question. I have protest number 343, but somewhere
And I
written on
need to
here,
initial this one,
they said,
because that's where I
please
messed up.
call me for an
There we go.
appointment as I will
We
be
should
in
do
Vail, Colorado. My phone had the information stolen or whatever. Did we?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Protest number 343. Charlie Cleveland. Parcel number 34510.2. They're asking that the total land and improvements be reduced from $378,721 to $340,000. The building evaluated would not cost that much to replace. Cement in back needs replaced as it causes leaks into the basement. The land is cost for more than 10 acres. House and building older costs are lower as well. This was also seen by a referee. There were no photos enclosed, but they did have listed some properties around them that I don't think they're comps, because properties are way different in value and dwellings, etc. So they're just talking about their properties that they know of in different areas that are lower. The assessor is recommending no change. The referee is also recommending no change. The information provided the owner was not sufficient to warrant a change in the value. And testimony was the neighbor's properties have lower land values. These properties are in the same subdivision and in the same size. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that was the comment. It would be my motion, number 5, that after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time, evidence presented does not warrant a change. I
Second.
leave the land at $62,825, the improvements of $315,896 for a total of $378,721. And I need to read in another important fact, I think. No, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Second.
Bruns.
All right.
Woodruff.
All right,
Weems. Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Okay, I have protest 158. This is from a Mike and Candy Buffington. The property ID number is 87023.34. The real property description is Maloney Highlands, second subdivision, lot 1, block 3. The protested valuation for 2024 totals $797. The requested valuation drops that down to $235,000. The reasons for the requested valuation change are, since 2020, you have raised our property value by $106,696 with zero justification. Due to my disability, property improvements are minimal, basically grass. We also have a nuisance property across the street that would deter any buyer from paying anything even close to the value you have on the property. Whose last appraised value was $225,000 by McCormick Appraisals. They didn't provide a date, but looking back through the assessor's notes, that appraisal was done in 2019. They did not provide any additional photos or anything. Looks like Charity reviewed this in the assessor's office. They also did go see the referee, both of which are recommending no change and sufficient evidence to warrant a change. So it would be my motion, reason number 5, after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time, the evidence presented does not warrant a change.
second.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems. Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Protest 369 of Mr. Leonard Engelhart, 402 Michael Avenue. Property ID of 0009020. This is Bricks, 3rd edition, 4-1.
What number protest?
That's that very last one we got in at 369.
It might not be
Oh,
on
so
the
that's
spreadsheet.
not 23 one.
Okay,
We okay?
yep, we're good.
Okay. Mr. Engelhard is evidently putting the wrong number in for what the property was valued at. I will give you the correct number. It is currently valued at $172,840. He's requesting $125,000 based on house needs roof replacement, soffit, fascia, and the photos would kind of concur that there are some problems with those structures. This did go to the referee. The referee made a notation that there should be no change. The information provided the owner was not sufficient to warrant a decrease in value. Charity agreed with that, but it still has it had already had a 20% functional depreciation for needing a roof replaced. So this is a no change that went to both the referee and the assessors agree on that. So this would be number 5, after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time, evidence presented does not warrant a change. So the land will stay at $49,689, improvements at $123,151, for a total of $172,840, number 5.
Second.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Protest 348. Let's see, Tiffany and Stacy Johnson and Casey D. Stedham. Parcel is 0043945.00. Described as 1406 and 1412 West 6th Street, town lots 3 and 4, block 13, I believe. Protested value of total land and buildings is $359,216, requesting a deduction to $228,456. They state in the comment section, there have been no updates on the property. The common laundry area remains unfinished. The common entry to the 1410 and 1412 remains partially finished. The exterior of the building is unfinished and the landscaping is not manicured due to tenant issues and consistent turning over interior of the units upon tenant removal. The referee saw this protest and Ashley represented the assessor. The protest report indicates the subject has increased 2 years in a row. The increase this year was substantial. There have not been any improvements made. Gross monthly income for the subject is $2,600 per month. Marcia, the referee, says she agrees with the assessor's recommendation to lower the assessed value, and I'm going to get to that commentary next. Ashley says, spoke with the owner and did an interior inspection, changed 1950 duplex to a grade 5, changed the attached garage to a normal condition for its age, should have been changed during review. Shared laundry room is unfinished, still missing drywall in some spots, none of the drywall is finished, no floor coverings or trim. Does still need finished trim upstairs and in a few places, added a 15% functional depreciation on the 2000 duplex for unfinished projects. Rent on the 1950 is $500 per side. 2000 duplex gets $800 for the smaller unit and $12 for the larger unit. So her recommendation, and Marcia concurs, is to lower the value of the improvements, but the land will remain $29,232. The improvements will be reduced to $271,873 for a total value of $301,105. That motion is number 9.
Second.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
I have protest 256 for Riley Pinkerton, property ID 0017980.00. This is for property located at 701 Stewart Avenue. Protested valuation is $383,633, requesting it be lowered to $303,277. There were a packet of pictures submitted and a written statement that says 2023 buildings valuation was $251,801. My only update to my property was the addition of an unfinished garage. My dwelling's valuation has increased $75,722. The building I built cost nowhere near this much. Now my total building valuation has increased from $251,801 to $327,523 in 1 year, with my total land and building valuation being $383,633, up from last year's $271,277. There have been no updates to my land or home other than this garage. Land valuation, along with every house in my street, has increased $56,000 plus or minus a few hundred. An average increase of roughly $30,000 in value in 1 year. He goes on to say that means the value of those extra, so there's a house that he used for comparables that is 522 square feet smaller than his. He said it's odd that that home's valuation went down $4,000 from 23 to 24. That means the value of those extra 522 square feet in my home are valued at $403 per square foot. Now, if you show me a house that is 522 square feet within 2 miles of my home that has sold for $210,366 in the last 5 years, I would be floored. In fact, there is not a house on the current market that is listed for $400 a square foot. I understand valuations increase and that inflation, along with many projects the city are conducting, require a lot of money to pay for. I just feel that this bump is very excessive. I, along with many other people, did not receive a raise this large to pay for this kind of a tax increase. This was reviewed by Charity. Charity's recommendation is no change. Excuse me. Besides the review and updated costing, a new 1,280 square foot detached garage was added in 2024. She also attached the spreadsheet with comparable sales. None that even have a garage that close to the square footage on them. It did go before the referee. The referee agreed with Charity's recommendation of no change. Information provided by the owner was not sufficient to warrant a decrease in valuation. My recommendation is number 5. After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time, evidence presented does not warrant a change.
I'll second, but I do have a couple of questions. First question is, what was the thing about $400 a square foot? Was there anything to that?
So the house across the street from him, what you're gonna see.
No, I mean just this one. Did this one assess at $400 a square foot?
No, he's
That-
talking about the difference in.
That answers my
Yeah,
question.
he was
Second question I
using a
have.
comparable that wasn't comparable.
Second question I have has to do with the garage. The garage was added in '24. So it was added after, it sounds to me like this should have been appraised, okay? So to include the garage is not correct.
It was for 2020.
Yeah,
Not
it
built
it
in
was
20.
built,
It was built in 23.
it was built
added to the
last year,
value for
added to
24.
this year's
Oh,
value for
thank you.
2024.
Clarified, I'm good with my second stance.
No, but I'm glad that you're paying
least I
attention
was
to
listening.
that.
And then the house that
Excuse
he's
me,
talking
I hope
about
I'm
that
done.
actually went down is across the street and has a significant amount of functional on it. They have a whole wall that moves with the
Sure.
seasons. and
Okay.
So they have some serious issues with that house.
Thanks for the explanation, Charity.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Hi.
Well, it appears that we have a guest in the room. I'm guessing the guest is probably not there just to listen to it. Is that correct? Would you like to represent a protest?
I'm
actually here because I'm here to be on the other side of the desk.
No, I understand. So
I'm never done.
are you here with Marcia and Jay Weaver?
Yes, so James, and this property that we're talking about is owned by James and Dana Weaver. Thank you.
I might note for the record, everybody else had to sit in a hard chair. You notice he went over and got the soft chair? I don't know, you're trying to soften her up. But
He's trying to soften you up.
okay, Marcia, I'm gonna read a couple things into the record first, kind of get us going.
Okay.
Then there'll be time for introduction of your presentation. How's that?
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I have protest number 181 by Marcia and Jay Weaver. It is PI number 0088280.01. It is lots 21 in the south half of lot 20. Frontier Resort, Lake Maloney. They're asking that the total land and improvements be, or I should say, the total, because it's a leasehold interest, be reduced from $283,758. Their request is that the land be $64,000, the building's $136,000 for a total of $200,000. The assessor's office is recommending no change. The comments from the protester is a recent appraisal completed by a certified appraiser. This value is to separate a joint asset between two people that are no longer married. The value has been agreed upon by both parties. That's a bit confusing, but Mr. Bain is a certified appraiser.
Correct.
He did the appraisal, and we know that they also have a code of ethics that says they have to give their best opinion at that time of the cost, and I'm accepting that, although sometimes when appraisals are done for this purpose during a separation or something, they sometimes get a little skewed. I'm not suggesting Mr. Bain did, I'm suggesting this is a good appraisal. His appraisal was for $200,000, and I'm going by memory, but I'm sure it was. He had 4 comps, of which I had questioned 3 of the comps myself. The property that we're talking about, as you can see, there is a stick-built piece of property. The back half that we're not seeing is called garage, although it's finished very nice inside. Do we have any interior photos? Okay, I'm going to share some interior photos. I'll pass this around so we can look at that. They do have a boat stored in there, but they do have some eating tables and other things like that. My question on the comps were 3 of the comps had a manufactured home instead of stick-built. 1 or 2 had a attached garage to that was stick-built. The other comp, to me, I'm not an appraiser, but I would have taken this thing and I would have thrown it as far as I could get, because we're talking about a single-story residence at the lake. This is a 2-story residence at 220 South Sycamore. I don't know where you get a comp on that. That's just me speaking. But you'll have a chance in a moment to answer that. I'm sure you're prepared. Okay, so my comments, my notes from the review, I'm going to ask Mrs. Weaver, if you would like to introduce yourself and then present any additional information that you might have that we don't have here. Thank you.
Yes, I am Marcia Weaver, and I am married to James Weaver. He goes by J.A. He was formerly married to Dana. He and I are trying to separate this, which was somehow, some way after a divorce, left as a joint asset. The one comment I will make that I think is the most important comment to all of this is that, in my opinion, this is no different than a sale where 2 parties unduly influenced have come together, because both James and Dana, J.A. and Dana, have agreed on this $200,000 value. This is what we're settling this property at. There was not a second appraisal done. This is the only appraisal that was done, and it was accepted by both parties and their attorneys. The problem with this property is that it's an extremely unique location, because while it is at the lake, quote unquote at the lake, A, it's on a sublease, and B, it has no lakefront, no access, no view. It's at the lake, but it is not on the lake, and you cannot see the lake. It is really mostly a storage building. There is about a fourth of it, or I'm not sure the exact percentage, but the front is sort of like a hotel room at the Embassy Suites. It has a sink and a counter, and then there is a full bathroom and a bedroom. There are no kitchen appliances. There's no disposal, no dishwasher, no range oven, nothing. It's
Some
a
pretty
counter
clear pictures.
this about the length of this table. So there's no kitchen. The garage part is a garage. It does have walls, OSB board, not drywall. No finished trim and not drywalled. The ceiling has drywall, but no trim, just exposed bulbs, exposed fluorescent bulbs. It is a legit garage. But I don't wanna, waste time on too many details. But I guess the most important point is, like I said, this is no different than a sale, in my opinion. And the reason the appraisal, or the comparables that you see, there's probably not a more unique property in Lincoln County. I mean, there is nothing to compare it to. So what Jeff Bain has done in this appraisal, which I'm sure we all agree he is competent and experienced, what he's done in this appraisal is tried to pull a little something. The reason he's using the Sycamore Street property is because it's a huge garage. And so he wanted something with that large garage space. It's more garage than house. And so that's why he's using that as a comparable sale. And then to answer that question, and the other 3 sales are in the same neighborhood, Frontier. He has made appropriate adjustments for time, because there are only, I believe there are 28 properties in Frontier Resort. So, and then less than half of them are on that back road. So it's extremely hard to find a comparable. They're just, when you figure 5% of your houses sell every year, there's not going to be much available. So he's used some older sales. He's had to make adjustments for time. He's had to make adjustments for the lakefront access. And he did adjust the Sycamore Street for being in town, because I think everyone can agree it's very clear that the lake properties do sell well. So I guess I would entertain any other questions you have about the appraisal. I'm not sure I answered all your questions, but it's very clear to me why he did the analysis he did. I don't, to me, it's thorough and complete. As an appraiser, I'm not sure how it could have been done better. And I don't know what sales, what if any sales charity has used to value that property. I don't know, but it's a,
Yeah.
and I'll just tell you, this is on the record, I'm sure Jay knows this, but when he built that house and I did not know who he was or who he worked or where he lived, I went by it and I literally asked one of the neighbors, is that a really ugly house or a really nice garage? And the guy was like, it's kind of both. Because it's not really a house. And yes, it is stick-built, and the reason, back to that, I guess that was another question you had or comment. The manufactured homes are used because that's all there is to use. I mean, there's a couple stick-built out there that have sold very high that have lakefront access, but, behind where JA is, he's one of 2 stick-built properties.
But I do need to interject that we both know, and you know more than I do, that you don't value a manufactured property the same as you do a stick-built property. And so I understand that when you look at sales and recent sales, it's hard to find something for the purpose of an appraisal. I get that. I also understand that when you go to sell properties, a property on Sycamore Street does not sell like a property at the lake, whether that be in Mill Isle, Prairie Lake, whether that be an offsite around the lake, across the road. whether that be a bay, because each of those properties, as you already know, are broken down and priced the leasehold a little bit different, because of their location. As are they at Frontier, they're broken down a little bit different. So hopefully, unless I'm told different,
I just want to show you what adjustment he made for that.
Yeah,
I saw
on
it.
Sycamore
He
Street,
made
he
an
made a
adjustment.
30% adjustment on that, the sale of that house.
He gave it added 50% to that sale because it was in town. So he
And
is
the
making-
manufactured homes, he also.
I understand that he did, but I also
Yeah, he also
understand-
adjusted manufactured. And I will say, as an appraiser, if I have to, I use manufactured and stick built and cross them in an appraisal. I have had to do that many times because that was all I had.
And at Frontier, there's very few sales.
Oh, I get that, I understand that, but I guess one thing that sticks with me, and I appreciate that comment, but the property at, that you're looking at on, in town, if you recall, there's not as much garage, but there's a very similar looking property at that, sitting right in front of you towards the lake. There's a two-story just like that. If you look out.
Where?
Your
What are you
Frontier.
confused? So are you talking about Roger Anderson's property next door? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the large two-story with the barn roof like this.
Right in front of you at the
Right in
lake.
front of you when you're sitting on your porch and can look around. So that's, yeah, there is
Yeah,
one
to
similar.
it's a little further to the north.
But it's
Yeah,
pretty close,
Yes,
yeah.
okay, okay. And it's on the lake.
So you could make a lake adjustment. So anyway, that's just my comments. So open for discussions to the board. Questions?
And 3 of the 4 properties are located in Frontier, and then 1 is on Sycamore, so.
Right.
Can I see that again, Joe? I didn't look at the details on the other properties of the lake, as far as the comparables.
He has photos of them. Now,
JA built
there's
this.
4.
Yes, he did. It is
What year?
stick built on a slab foundation.
This is a new garage.
It was
This is the
a
Sycamore.
while ago.
That's the one in town.
I mean,
That's
not,
in the-
it's
that's
not
the one that's
old,
filled
but
out
it
with the
was,
garage. Clear out by the road, that's the last
I mean, I
one.
want to
And
say
this one's
two,
not on the
I was going to say 2015.
Not underwater,
That's what I
just
was-
like there.
I wasn't sure, yeah. Yeah.
Looks like you did a nice job.
Well, he works in construction, so he
Okay,
doesn't really, he doesn't work in this kind of
manufacturing.
construction, but he's very particular. So it's a well-built house, or garage, whatever it is, I don't know. I'll just tell you, when I met him, I was sort of like, what is this? This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Well, I can tell you that,
I mean,
I can tell you that it's much larger than the First Lake property that my wife and I own. And probably as big as one of our second ones.
I feel like it was very tastefully done. I mean, I would have no troubles.
He did it by
spending
himself.
some time
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, he did.
Pretty
it by
good
himself.
for a guy decorating.
And the large table that you see, he built.
Do you have a motion? Did you make a motion?
No, not yet.
I knew it, that was coming.
This is one of the properties, that, like I said, we said throughout the county that we had to increase material costing this year, so it was brought to the 2020 costing. Plus all the lakes got the increase in the leasehold interest, so.
And I don't know what you have for the leasehold interest, but Jeff Bain assigns the site value at $64,000.
Our,
For
it's
104, for 105.
105, 300 is our leasehold.
Now, is that leasehold for on the lake or any,
No, it's for off.
This is for off the lake.
Off the lake.
105?
And that difference right there
$41,300.
kind of explains the gap in the two valuations.
I'm going to try something here, and it's not going to be arbitrary and capricious. Whether you agree with it or not, it's going to be my motion, and we can discuss it. Okay?
That's a novel thought.
Okay. I'm going to, nope, let me finish my math before I do this. No, I wouldn't do that, I would take over here.
think another comment I would like to make is if we were reviewing this, if this was an actual sale of the 521, to me, we would consider this a bad sale with the appraisal, even just for
I
the fact that
understand.
it's not on the open market.
Right, it was not an arm's length transaction. I understand
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
I want to bring that up because we're talking about appraisal, and not a sale, because if it were an arm's length sale, which it would not be a good sale. Okay. Okay, so let me try this here.
Oh, sorry. That's okay.
No, I would take his and add it, yes. So I would add 41. Okay, so I'm going to make a motion that, and it's not a number on here, that after hearing evidence and testimony today from Mrs. Weaver on this particular protest, that we leave the land at zero so that we are equalized with other like properties on the leasehold on the lake in that particular area, equalized not being a lakefront property, that we decreased the improvements from $283,758 to $241,300. And I came up with that in using the comps that Mr. Bain used for improvements, and to stay equalized, used our leasehold value that the county uses so that our land can remain equalized. That's one of our biggest jobs as a Board of Equalization, is to make sure the land is equalized. So that would be my motion, that we reduce that total land improvements from $283,758 to $241,300. My motion.
Second.
Now, discussion by the board.
Where does that, is that based on what? Where did you come up with that number between?
Okay, what I did is I took what Mr. Bain to come up with his $200,000 appraisal. He used $64,000 for a leasehold. That was what he assigned. We have, as a uniform leasehold for that property at the lake, $105,300. So I kept our leasehold the same. I took his comps that he had on the improvements, and that's where I came up with the 241.
So,
Okay.
question.
So you're utilizing what we use for a leasehold at the lake?
Right, because we
For that
have to keep
number.
that land equalized.
Instead of his number of 64, okay, that
Right.
explains it, okay.
Do we know his methodology for assigning what he has for the
Yeah.
lease value?
It's in the appraisal.
I don't know, but I
There
don't,
is 2 vacant lot sales out there.
He has land sale 642 Frontier Drive, lot number 25, Frontier Resort Lake Maloney, sold for $64,500 on October 28th, 2022, filed in, on document 2022-05265.
There's 2 vacant lot sales. Again, our leasehold values include the improvements that are on the land, so, well, subject, those kinds of things. So that's why ours differ from.
And his are just empty lot?
Right.
That's correct.
No improvements.
So what was the appraisal, what did it until we came out?
his appraisal was $200,000.
200,000 even.
So you're saying you
So,
don't
so
use
to
the
me, I
factor-
tried to keep our land equalized so that we stay the same throughout all of our properties. I tried to use his comps on his properties that he used for the appraisal. That was my logic. The one thing we can't do is be arbitrary and capricious. We can't just pick a number in between and say, well, I think 50% feels fair, so that was my logic. Other discussions, questions?
I don't agree with it. I think if your number is 105 with a lot improvements, then I don't know how you get away from that.
Right,
He's
that's what I
not
used.
changing that, though. He's
He
changing
did
the
use the
improvement.
That is what I
105.
used.
Yeah, he used the leasehold value.
But you're backing down.
40-some thousand from
But I used the comps provided on the buildings, whether that's right or not wrong, Ken. I used
Yeah,
his,
I'm-
yeah. And then we may disagree, but any further discussion by the board?
Haley?
Well, did I make that motion?
You
I
made the
did.
motion.
And we got a second?
Got a second?
Aye.
Buns?
Can I ask a question?
Uh,
Can I ask a question or not?
I don't, I'm going to allow it, but this
Oh,
is usually
this
the
is
time once we
actu-
start voting.
Okay, but just a food for thought question. I understand that equalizing all the land, I definitely understand that. It doesn't make sense to me that we went from 60, I guess I don't, it seems like a lot for well and septic. 50,000, is that, yeah, $50,000 for a well and septic. Seems like a lot, but anyway, I'm not sure how that.
That is my motion, second, the board is voting. So if you would like, you know the procedure, and
Yeah.
you can certainly follow it up from there. So continue the roll call vote, please.
Buns?
No.
Woodruff?
Aye.
Weems?
No.
Wheeler?
So let me clarify. If we vote in the negative against your motion, it leaves it at our assessed value.
Start over.
It would leave it at our assessed value.
We wouldn't have a resolution for the protest. It would be, we're voting on the motion that's at hand right now.
And the motion that's at hand is to value it at $241,300.
As versus 283,758.
And then there would have to be another motion.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is then approved.
No,
No?
no.
Okay. Okay, that motion dies. I'm going to,
May I make a motion, Mr.
you
Chairman?
may, please, absolutely.
I make a motion number 12 to lower the valuation to the appraised value.
I'll second that for purpose of discussion. I'm in strong disagreement because I think we are setting a precedent on changing land values arbitrarily in that Mr. Bain came up with a leasehold value that is different than any other leasehold value we have around the entire lake.
I agree with that assessment, that I feel like going from 105,000 leasehold, and that's a number that we use for every other property out there.
No.
Just for the like
Just-
properties.
That's right,
Off the
off
water.
lake properties, that kind of property.
Okay, I still feel like that is something that we need to honor. I don't feel that we can change that for just one parcel, where it is used for all other parcels off of the water.
So,
In that particular
In that
subdivision.
particular subdivision, yes. It equalizes it, right?
when you guys change those, we don't change our values in our system. It's overridden to the value that you put in there. So we're not actually, or you or us are not changing that leasehold value. That's still in there. It's just strictly.
No, I get that, I get that, because you don't have, you have zero. That's land, so leasehold is a whole different thing. That's land and property at Lake Maloney. What does it sell for example, lakefront down here, my bay right around the corner opposite of South Maloney is valued different, but it's consistent in the bay for the leasehold. These leaseholds are valued. Frontier leaseholds are valued, bang, bang, bang. Prairie Lake leasehold is valued. So I get that, and
I just don't want you guys to worry that we're going in there and changing just this one to that 64,000.
no, you're gonna make some kind of an arbitrary adjustment and call it something
No.
and make the value.
We're not doing any arbitrary adjustment at all. We can actually go into the values tab and go in there and say, the commissioners approved this, and we put that value in there, and it's overridden.
No, I get that, but what I shouldn't have said arbitrary. What I should have said is, next year, you're going to have the same thing to do, okay? What procedure will you use next year to value this property?
We'll probably get additional
Protests.
cost tables on it, just like this, and we'll probably go through this same process again.
Okay,
Because I will take that lower risk value off.
thank you. Difficult one.
It is
Because it
difficult,
won't receive
because
that
it's not
additional
like anything
cost
that
tables
we've addressed,
when
I
they're
feel,
overrun.
right?
So yours was different.
Follow the appraised value,
Which is 200,000.
which is 200,000.
I think all Joe did, basically from what I'm getting, is he took the value of the property, the improvements, and then he added from the appraisal, and then he added our leasehold on that.
He added the difference in the leasehold to it.
Can I,
No, yeah, well, basically, if you just take, and I don't know.
Same thing, we either
Yeah.
work forward or backward to
Yeah.
get the same thing. Go
can
ahead.
I ask a question? This is more just me thinking out loud. Would my opinion be different had he not brought the leasehold to the conversation in the appraisal?
I don't know if it would have been or not, but that he has to come up with a value, that's the way
I
he
mean,
does it,
we
that's
have
the
had-
appraisal.
We have had appraisals left and right throughout this entire process that we have gone with the appraised value because it's an appraisal.
On the day that you were missing, we
We-
did have one.
I have
that we
another
did
one
not.
right here.
Yeah.
No, but I
So
mean,
that-
but that hasn't been uniform across the board, that's what she's saying.
Yeah, it
We
hasn't,
have-
it
'cause that
hasn't
was
been
my
uniform
argument,
across the
And
board.
so we haven't followed that on all,
Yeah.
because I made the same, I said, many times we'll follow
Well, I
that.
mean,
And oftentimes it depended on the quality of the appraisal, and we're in agreement that Jeff Bain does a good appraisal job. I think we're in agreement.
That is a correct statement.
I know we've
For
done
me,
two.
I just feel like him bringing the leasehold element into his appraisal changes that for me, because we don't take that into consideration on all, and we have heard protests on many lake properties this year. And that was never part of the conversation.
I know we've done two properties that I done, that we had a high appraisal.
You know, Henry, since this may go somewhere, I'm gonna ask you to come a little closer and to identify yourself, because if this does go upstairs, then I want at least this to be on the record, who's speaking and what your comments are. Please,
Okay, my name's Henry Vogt, I'm a Lincoln County appraiser. We have done already this year, two, because I did them. We had I'm just gonna use a number, $400,000 appraisal. It sold for $350,000. I came in at $375,000. You guys came in at $375,000. We've done that on two of them, I know of this year. So we
right,
didn't
versus
go with
following
the,
appraisal.
yeah, we didn't go with the appraisal.
Right.
I know we did that twice.
We went less than the appraisal?
No.
Yes,
Yeah, less than
yes,
the
we went
appraisal.
less than
We didn't go
appraisal.
higher than the
No.
appraisal.
No, we went
higher in
higher.
appraisal,
We went
less
higher
than
than the
his
appraisal.
original assessment.
Right.
He had it assessed at say for, the appraisal come in at 350.
Right.
Henry had talked to him ahead of time and said, how about 375? So we came in between Henry's original and the appraisal. We came in at 375. Am I incorrect or correct?
I think that's correct.
They went higher than.
They went higher.
They were higher, yes.
Yeah, I know we've done that, yeah.
Other
Chris,
And I guess I look
I have
back
a
into
motion.
years
And we have a
prior that, this has been, since 2019, it's valued at $210,345. And we all know what the trend has been
Yes.
over the last quite a few years. So I guess it's never been protested up until this year. So my concern is, is it really clear down to 200,000 over the last 5 years?
Read where
I
we've
guess
had
I'm-
it the last few years.
That's what I mean, yeah, 2019 went to 210,345. 21, we went to 216,792. 225,464 for 2022. 2023, we went to 257,871. And then this year, we went to 283,758 with the new costing and the new leasehold. And each year, we've been getting, those new leaseholds is why it's been increasing. I guess that's why I'm nervous if we don't have justification to show that things are on, decreasing that much to go from 283 down to 200,000. I just don't see the trend out there doing that, I guess, is, not to say Jeff Bain isn't doing a great job and does a good appraisals, but, I'm like Michaela, I kind of question that, leasehold value on his. I would be more apt to think maybe Joe would be more in line, leaving that leasehold the same and adding, looking at Jeff's improvement values. That's still quite a bit of significant decrease from what we have, but I don't know. I guess that's
So I'm going to
my
ask,
thoughts on it.
I'm sorry, please continue, I didn't mean to.
No, that's
I'm going to
just
ask,
my
are
thoughts.
there any more comments or questions from the board?
I have,
Your,
go ahead.
your rationale makes much more sense that we've exchanged these comments. Thank you.
My question is, does the fact that this is a settlement of property, does that influence this decision at all? This is a settlement of...
That's the reason I didn't want to go there. I said Mr. Bain is a good, reputable appraiser, and I'm not questioning his integrity.
Okay.
And that's the only reason I made the comment earlier. If it would have been a sale, would we look at this as a good sale? No. I mean, and just leave it at that, not looking at his appraisal or questioning his integrity either.
And for me
This would just
personally,
be-
had the leasehold agreement not been mentioned in the appraisal, I would have voted for Joe's motion. But that makes me nervous that we are setting a precedence that everybody living in like properties out there are gonna come in and say, well, you did it for this property. So,
I don't know if you guys.
Well, please identify yourself.
Sorry, I'm Trudy Farley, lead county appraiser. I don't know if you guys realize, but every single appraisal that has come in front of you has a land value in that cost approach. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but it is in there. They are required to value that property as if it is vacant and then as improved. So
Yes.
it is
Yes.
something that I just want you to be aware of.
Right, and we are, trust me.
okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
Okay, I'm going to kind of wrap up discussion and comments amongst the board. Last chance. Roll call.
Hughley?
The motion was to follow the appraised value.
That was my
No.
motion.
No. Bruns?
Yes?
Woodruff?
No.
Weems?
No.
Wheeler?
No.
Okay. Somebody else gets to take a stab at it.
Chairman, will you take another stab at it?
Yes.
On protest number 181, it would be my motion that they're asking that the land and the leasehold interest, the entire thing, it's one price, be reduced from $283,758 to $200,000. After hearing the testimony of both the protester, additional dialogue and discussion amongst our Julie Stinger and her staff and this board, would be my motion that we reduce the cost from $283,758 to $241,300. My logic being was to try to keep our leasehold interest uniform and proportionate on those properties in that area, and that we use Mr. Bain's appraisal on the improvements itself to come up with that value. That's my motion.
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Bruns?
No.
Woodruff?
Yes.
Weems?
Aye.
Wheeler?
No.
Okay, and Hughley?
Yes. Thank you.
That was the hardest one I think I've had to do since I've been here.
Okay, thank you,
Am I supposed to
Marcia.
sign
Let me,
this?
I just
Am I
do
supposed to
it.
sign?
We're going to take a recess for lunch.
How many more do we
think we're
have?
done.
How many more do we
Oh,
have?
let's do,
One.
I have one.
oh, well, let's
I
just
have
keep
one.
on. Is that
I've got
okay?
6.
I'll take
Let's split some up. Let me just write this up, okay?
You have about a dozen left.
Oh, okay. Should we just get them done, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
How about the assessor's office? Are you guys okay? Just
Yep.
keep going?
Thank you, Marcia.
Yep, no,
Do we have anybody else coming in?
We're supposed to have Tabor Ranch, but they haven't made it. They were at 11 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Marcia.
Marcia.
Oh,
Thanks for
You
all
got
the
some
other
thumbs?
work you do for the county.
Sit back.
They're all Debbie.
Here, the pink one, that's the best one.
Does anybody go? Is anybody ready?
I'm ready.
Go.
Okay, I have protest number 277. This is from a Kyle Marlar. Property ID is 4925.00. The real property description is Original Township, Lot 8, Block 149. The protest evaluation for 2024 has total valuation at $273,550. The requested valuation drops the total down to $187,000 even. The reason for the requested valuation change is there is a current appraisal valuation attached. It was done by Patrick M. Bain, and it is current as of 6/24 of 2024. The appraised value is what is requested. And the assessor's office, Ashley in the assessor's office has looked at this. She changed both houses attached on the property and the attached garage to normal condition, but is still unable to get to the appraised value. The referee has looked at this. They met with the referee, and the referee's recommendation is to lower the valuation. The assessed value should not exceed the appraised value. The appraisal report was completed by a certified appraiser. That has, it would be my motion number 12 I move to lower the valuation to the appraised value, which has land at $33,758. That's staying constant. The improvements dropping down to $153,242 for a total valuation of $187,000 even. That would be my motion.
Second.
Which house are we looking at?
There are two
There's-
houses
Oh,
on
there are
this
two houses,
property.
I'm sorry.
There is
I
this
missed
little
that.
brick house.
That's on the
and then-
same lot, I got you.
Yep, they're on the same lot.
Okay, because when I looked down, it was a different house.
Woodruff,
Aye.
Weems,
Aye.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Higley,
Aye.
Brents.
Aye.
Protest 349, Michelle Fletcher, 2101 Anna Avenue. Property identification of 43210. It's described as Thomas Addition, east 18.26 feet of 21 and all of 22.5 TP. They are protesting the valuation of $195,068, requesting $175,000 based on grade condition is not 4. Property requires a ton of repairs. They show photos of land is washed out beneath their pool deck and the garage. So this did go in front of the referee, and we have agreement between the referee and Charity in regards to lowering the assessed value. Charity's notes say condition changed to normal on the house and change the condition on the concrete apron for the pool to pour. So this is going to be lower valuation slightly. Number 9, after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and the referee, I move to lower the valuation to the assessor's recommendation, which will be $41,080 on the land, improvements, $142,865 for a total of $183,945. Number 9.
Second.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Protest 347. This is parcel 001-051-600. The petitioner is Francisco Noboa, but the property is identified as being owned out of Bentonville, Arkansas, which is the Walmart building here in town. Further described as Gerald Brewer, second edition, part lot 7, 4 through 13, or 4, excuse me, lot 7, section 4, township 13, range 30. And that was some subdivision, lot 2, block 2, 20.972 acres, lot 1. Protested value, the land is currently $2,267,082. Buildings are $10,012,333 for a total value of $12,279,415. Requesting the reduction not to the land, it would remain at 2.267082 million. Buildings would be reduced to $7,815,968 for a total value request $10,083,050. The comment is market and relevant property data suggests properties overassessed. There was a referee, and the testimony given us says the financial statements reflect lower value. Henry looked at this. His comment is a corrected value to the 2023 value. The cost tables were inadvertently updated on this parcel. Does that need further explanation, Henry?
I believe so. It's the same thing as we did with the cards.
All right.
But none of the commercials been moved to that 2020 costing yet. A lot of them are changing significantly, so we've left all the commercial on override until we review them again, because we're not needing the increase.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, the referee concurs with the suggestion to adjust the values based on the tables. So I believe that's going to be, since the assessor and the referee agree, is probably going to be a number 9 motion, because we're lowering not the land, that would remain at $2,267,082. The buildings, however, would be $9,175,094. So the total value would be $11,442,176. Is that compute? So with those figures, those values entered into the record, on my motion's number 9.
Second.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Bruns.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
I have protest 362 for a Brian Franzen for parcel 0067335.00. It is section 31-12-27. His remark is all except the right-of-way for a total of 53.84 acres. This protested valuation is $443,072. He is requesting it be lowered to is that 451,000 or 454,000 that he's asking it? I mean, I think those numbers are reversed, because what he's requesting is actually higher than what he has written in the protested. The way I'm reading it, we have it valued at $443,072, and he's asking it to be lowered, and it looks like $451,534, which is actually a higher amount. His reasons is this is strictly, I'm having a really hard time reading that tiny writing. I think it says, I'll do the best I can. with house. Is there a house on this parcel? Because I don't think there is. That looks like a with house. Went up,
You might read the, she's got narrative on the referees. You might be able to get it out of there. Because that
it doesn't really match, but.
doesn't matter. It
Yeah.
doesn't match.
Doesn't really match, but this is his testimony to the referee. Thank you, Kent, I'll go with that. The increase in value was substantial and not in line with the increases of other ground. The subject should not be valued as recreational ground. The owner disagrees with the method of valuation. The school districts need to be allowed a lower budget. The subject property was raised more than the state average. The buyers that are paying high prices are outside money and not cattlemen. This was reviewed by Julie and also the referee, and Julie attached a letter explaining that the ag parcel is located in Market Area 4. Market Area 4 is currently at 71%. Previously, Market Area 4 was out of compliance at only 58%. That was way low. It did take a big jump because of that. So currently, following the statutory range of 69 to 75%, we had to bring it up to 71% increase in valuation. The referee agreed with Julie's assessment, saying the information provided by the owner was not sufficient to warrant a decrease in value. That leaves the property valued at $443,072. My motion is number 5.
Second.
Hughley,
Aye.
Bruns,
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems,
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Protest number 365, Western Tabor Ranch Apartments LLC. They had an appointment at 11 o'clock. They've not shown up, so we've got to take this to keep moving on. The land and improvements are as follows. Land is $124,055. Buildings, $2,362,545. For a total of $2,486,660. They're asking the total be $1,416,584.62. This is their second protest. They withdrew the first protest where they were asking that it be reduced to $2,028,200. I've had a chance to review this information in pretty good detail. I've looked at the notes from the assessor's office, the things they have. They've actually looked and used the 2022 income to on this property, and it would be my motion. There was no referee. Number 4, I move to accept the recommendation of the assessor, which indicates no change at this time. Evidence presented does not warrant a change. There were a no-show for the board, and that is my motion, leaving the total at $2,486,660.
Wasn't this, didn't they go to Turk in previous year?
That's
Still
yes.
waiting.
Okay. Second.
Bruns,
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems,
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Okay, I have protest number 201. This is from a Paul G. Moreland. The property ID is 19030.00. The real property description is H&S Edition, Lot 6, Block 2. The protested valuation for 2024 has a total valuation of $70,523. The the requested valuation drops that down to $61,900 even. The reason for the requested valuation change is the house is not finished and the fence in the shop is not finished. They did supply some photos. They did meet, or at least Ashley reviewed this in the assessor's office, and they also met with the referee, both of which are recommending no change. Ashley's comments are the house still has a 15% functional depreciation for projects not being completed, and the new detached garage was only a foundation as of January 1st. The referee has a recommendation of no change. The information provided by the owner was not sufficient to warrant a decrease in value. It would be my motion number 5. After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time, evidence presented does not warrant a change. Therefore, land should remain at $26,145, buildings and improvements at $44,378 for a total valuation of $70,523.
Second.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Brents.
Aye.
Protest number 237, a Lee and Connie Glebe, 1020 West Reed Avenue, North Platte. Property ID of 38390. It's described as Southfield Second Edition, Lot 3, Block 3. They are protesting the total valuation of $224,837, requesting $165,000 based on, they say 35% of the property is uninhabitable. We believe there's a sewage leak in the alley we've complained about for 20 years. This went before the referee, and the referee agrees with Charity. When unable to verify a sewage leak, house is already being adjusted with 35% functional depreciation due to the addition not being complete. Again, the referee concurred. This is a no change. Number 5, after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time. So the land stays at $46,980, improvements at $177,857, for a total of $224,837. And number 5.
Second.
Weems.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Brents.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Protest 363, Brian K. Friends, and parcel is 0067320.00, also described as the southwest quarter of section 30, township 12, range 27, 155.18 acres. The protested value is $124,144. The requested reduction is $112,506.08. The comment section has some comments in, but this is primarily illegible to me.
It's
So
hard.
So I'm gonna go to the referee page and read in his comments to Marcia. Marcia indicates that he says the increase in value is substantial, not in line with increases of other ground. The subject should not be valued as recreation ground. The owner disagrees with the method of valuation. The school districts need to be allowed a lower budget. The subject property was raised more than the state average. The buyers that are paying high prices are outside money, not cattlemen. Marcia, her only comment is the information provided by the owner was not sufficient to warrant a decrease in value. She's recommending no change. Julie reviewed this and attached her letter pointing out the statutory requirement to remain between 69 and 75% on the like property. This property was undervalued at, I believe, 58 and is now currently at 71% at this current value. Thus, it is in compliance. And since I see no evidence presented to contradict any of these basic statutory requirements provided by the petitioner, I would say the land remains at $124,144 and the building value being 0, as there's no structures. So that motion is a number 3.
Second.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Brents.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
I have protest 364 from a Brian Franzen, 0067370.00. This is part of the west half of the southwest quarter of section 321227, 8.5 acres. Protested valuation is $6,800. He is requesting it be lowered to $6,163.08. His explanation for the request is hard to decipher. There's a lot of reasoning there. I'm going to take Commissioner Weems' advice and go back. He did see the referee. Go back to that commentary. His testimony to Marcia was the increase in value was substantial and not in line with increases on other ground. The subject should not be valued as recreational ground. The owner disagrees with the method of valuation. The school districts need to be allowed a lower budget. The subject property was raised more than the state average. The buyers that are paying high prices are outside money and not cattlemen. My question to the assessor's office, is this valued as recreational ground?
No, that is something I did want to clarify too. On all three of these properties protested by Mr. Franzen, no, they are strictly grassland values. They are in the southeast part of the county where it is very canyony and a lot of cedar trees. As you see in my letter, I was only at 58% of market value and I'm required to be at 75% on ag. I can have that acceptable range of 69 to 75%. So I did call some realtors to try to verify some of these high dollar sales that have been occurring to see, are these being advertised as recreational sales? Are they selling for recreational uses? And two of the highest ones that are selling like over $1,400 an acre, the local realtor told me he would love to tell me that they were recreational sales. He says unfortunately these were sold because they wanted the grass.
Oh my goodness.
For pasture ground.
For pasture ground. So,
incredible.
Yeah. So I otherwise I would have loved to have, made those notes and said I'll watch for some recreational influences and kick those out and not have to make such the big increase I did in this area. But unfortunately, the verification that I was looking for I didn't get, so I had no choice.
Julie, thank you for mentioning the letter because the letter is attached. It does explain that market area 4 was only at 58% of the required statutory range of 69 to 75%. And Julie did raise that to the lower level of 71%. So Julie's recommendation, no change. Land stays at $6,800. It did go before the referee. And she agreed with Julie. No change. Information provided by the owner was not sufficient to warrant a decrease. My motion is number 5.
Second.
Hughley.
Aye.
Brent.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Wooler.
Aye.
Protest number 257, Riley H. Pinkerton, parcel number 000-46065.0. They're asking that the land be reduced from $37,167 to $14,418. Buildings from $104,118 to $98,000. Total land and buildings from $141,285 to $112,418. They did have a referee. Well, first of all, it says, please see the attached pages. The ones most relevant to me were the photos, but I will read the comments that they had briefly. It says, valuation change is puzzling. With no improvements to the land, which we saw increase 24,000 in 2024. Typically, the land has risen a few thousand. Yeah, it spiked to 24,000 in a single year is crazy. Despite this, the deterioration of the property, it should be going down. It's not updated in the past 6 years. No plausible reason that it could soar 184,000 in 1 year on the land value. I have to explain that a little bit before I get into the referee's comments. We had a trended adjustment on this twice in the last 2 or 3 years to get back into compliance with the state, is because we were actually too low on that. The last year that she's referring to it going up so much was 16%, and I think the year before that it might have been 4%. So that explains why the question on the land went up so much, is we needed to stay in compliance and stay equalized. The referee makes the comments, based on the pictures presented, I'm recommending the assessed value be lowered as follows. leave the land at $37,167, reduce the improvements from $104,118, total land improvements from $141,285 to $130,000. I did look at the photos. They are very, very, very telling. I understand the trended adjustment where we have to go up. To me, this is sort of a one of a kind. We maybe need to take a look at this one again because of the condition. And because of that, I'm going to my motion is going to be number 10, that after receiving testimony and evidence presented both the assessor and referee, I'm move to lower to the value of the referee's recommendation as follows: land $37,167, buildings $92,833 for a total of $130,000. That's my motion.
Second.
Bruns?
Aye.
Woodruff?
Aye.
Weems?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye.
Hughley?
I might make a note on that. We can take a look at it or something.
I didn't get any pictures, so.
Oh, maybe that's why. Oh, when you look at them, it's
Okay.
yeah.
There are pictures
Yeah,
attached.
okay, thank
now,
you.
Charity.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't get any at all.
Okay.
Don't tell me that that's the last one.
No, he lied to you, there's another box.
Have fun tomorrow, I gotta be honest.
So is that our last protest?
I don't have any more.
I don't have any more. Are you guys-
Did we get them all crossed off, Julie?
Nicole, did you get them all?
Yeah, we did that.
Thank you.
Make sure,
I
because
have
when we
got-
go here, we're going to adjourn, not recess.
Gotta say, kudos to the entire assessor's office team. Like, you guys do a fantastic job.
Amen.
And I really appreciate the guidance, the education, everything that you guys provide throughout this entire ordeal, so.
It is invaluable.
Yep. I wish everybody would take the time to come in throughout the year, like I did this year. Ashley and
Yeah, I
Henry
was going to
sat
say,
down with me.
not all at once at this time of year.
No.
During the year.
Throughout the, I said
All
throughout
right.
the year, because I really feel like with a better understanding of what you guys have to do and how willing you are to help people, I think we'd probably really trim the number of protests down.
I
Hopefully,
appreciate you guys asking questions and understanding, trying to understand the process. So that
Yeah.
helps us a lot. We feel like we have your support, and that's really great.
Certainly do.
I also want to give kudos to my other staff that's not in here. because
Oh, yeah.
sometimes My girls at the counter are
extended.
educated enough that they are able to explain what these guys did enough that these guys aren't probably seeing half the people, and you guys aren't seeing half the people that come in our office.
And they walk
So-
out without a protest.
They do.
My compliments and gratitude extend to the entire, as I
Yes,
said, the
yes.
entire
You said
assessor's office
education's
team.
key, they
Yeah.
just don't understand, and a lot of times, once they do, they're like, okay, they may not like it, but at least they understand
Yeah.
it, and they know what we're doing, so.
well, and I've had a lot of positive feedback from people that I have directed to you guys, will reach back out to me and say, I see it differently now, I understand better. You know, doesn't mean that we like what's happening, but they understand better the guidelines you have to follow, so.
You're double sure we don't have any under the desk or anything, right?
No, the boxes are empty, they say, and I had everything marked off my spreadsheet.
That's good enough for me.
Well, that
Okay,
spreadsheet's
so
the master.
I would like, again, thank you. Thank you, fellow board members, Tammy, Nicole, for your time.
Oh,
And
Nikki,
especially
yes.
Nicole, you did a tremendous job this year. So having heard that,